And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition, another season, another day here of the GSL 2025 Season 1 Round of 8 Group B. I'm of course just VIP. With me, I'm chained up. With me, I'm joined by no my plushies, but nothing but chains, fabulous. We're here to catch up on the GSL. Of course, we were live a couple of days ago with a GSL Renovate Group A. We were wrapping that up, and now we're here with Group B, and we're here to complete Season 1 of GSL this morning with Group B, and this evening with the semifinals and the grand finals as well. Oh boy, it's going to be a very intense week of StarCraft here on the CranKy Ducklings. Again, of course, GSL did take place last week. The finals, the round of 8 was all last week. It was all back to back to back 3 days of StarCraft, and we are here to catch up on those matches. Not just a catch up, but also to continue on into Season 2. Here we go. What do I mean by that? Initially here, as we get into the matches tonight and into our group, as you can see, when it comes to our weekly schedule, it's a very GSL heavy weekly schedule, and it all leads into DreamHack Dallas. So basically what had happened, and it shows just how intense the schedule is right now for StarCraft, and it is very intense. GSL Season 1 ended last week. It was 3 days straight. It was Round of 8 Group A, Round of 8 Group B, and then the semis and grand finals, 3 days straight of StarCraft. And then a couple of days right after that, bam, Season 2 qualifiers. Season 2 qualifiers were a couple of days ago. It was over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2 days of GSL qualifiers. A couple of days ago were the qualifiers of Season 2, which is what we're going to be casting tomorrow. So today is Thursday. Thursday we have a full day of GSL of Season 1, and then tomorrow, Friday, full day of GSL Season 2 qualifiers. There are 16 best of 3s in those qualifiers, so we have a lot of matches to cover, a lot of ground to cover throughout the weekend. So we're going to be covering Season 2 qualifiers tomorrow and the day after. What's crazy, regardless of how these events unfold in Season 1, 0 seeding for Season 2. Everyone has to requalify. Everyone has to requalify. Everyone has to try again to make it into Season 2 of GSL. So that is going to be tomorrow, and of course on Saturday. Meanwhile, we have DreamHack Dallas. That's going to be a 3-day event. That's going to be Saturday, Sunday, Monday, at least here in Australia. I believe in the Americas it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 3 days straight of DreamHack Dallas, and then 2 days after that, bam, EWC qualifiers. EWC qualifiers are going to be 2 days after DreamHack Dallas, which is going to be crazy. Then after that, Stars Agora. Then after that, we have, I believe, Home Story Cup. I believe Home Story Cup is right after that as well. There's just a lot of content, a lot of StarCraft. Going to be a very, very intense schedule here. And of course, we are here initially to catch up with the Group B of the Round of 8. Let's go. Let us go. When it comes to Group B, bam, we have our matches here ready for us. We have 4 players. We have Classic, Reynor, Maru, and GuMiho. We have a Protoss, Zerg, Terran, and a mixed race here. Something that I was not quite expecting. Now, we have casted him off race before. Maru, we have covered his Protoss in the past, and he's going to be playing Protoss against GuMiho once again. Now, something about Maru here, if you recall, is that he already played against GuMiho during the qualifiers of GSL Season 1, and he lost. He lost that TVT. GuMiho was looking very strong, very powerful, and it looks like after Maru lost that TVT, looks like he's maybe taking notes from Clem and is switching to Protoss for the rematch. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to see how Maru's Protoss has grown over time, because it wasn't looking too impressive last time we saw it, but we'll see how he does perform against GuMiho. Likewise, initially we have Classic versus Reynor. Reynor had a very intense group in the first round in group stage 1, where Reynor he clutched it out over Solar. It was going to be either Reynor or Solar. They went back and forth. Solar won the first best of 3, went all the way to the ace match. Reynor won the elimination match. Sorry, he won the decider match in another best of 3, also into the ace match, barely in favor of Reynor. So Reynor, he made it this far instead of Solar, and we'll see how he compares to Classic. Let's go. Classic has likewise a very aggressive form of PvZ typically, but the great thing about GSL is, of course, that these players have had some time to prepare, some time to practice, you know, a week's notice ahead of time to get ready for their matches. So we are jumping into game 1, jumping into Tokamak. Let's go. Let us go. Just catch him in the chat. Hello to all in the chat as well. I see Cyberjohn was the first quacker. Late Chrononauts, Philosopher, alongside Random Hyper 1 as well. Bienvenidos. Good to see you all. Bienvenidos, as we are jumping into game 1. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Tokamak, we have the Italian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing his new team, representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. So yeah, settling into our matches, settling into our games here. And again, when it comes to our PvZs, Reynor, we did cover a lot of him during the qualifiers and of course last week as well in the group stage. And Reynor, he was very aggressive in the PvZ matchup. If you recall, we actually casted Reynor versus Hero. We casted Reynor versus Hero. That was in the qualifiers. Hero did take the series, but Reynor was very aggressive, very active. There were very messy games between Reynor and Hero. It was great to see. In the end, as I mentioned, Hero did take it, but I will say that Classic, he is not as aggressive, not as chaotic as Hero, so Reynor might be in a better position here. He might be a little bit more comfortable dictating the pace of the game instead of his opponent. Whereas in the series against Hero, it was both Reynor and Hero being hyper aggressive and hyperactive, and that led into some really awkward game states. We'll see how Classic will approach him though. For now, Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener out of Reynor. Likewise, Classic back at home, going for a Gate Expand into Cybercore Standard Openers overall. Let's go. Also, I do want to apologize for yesterday. Yesterday, we were not able to cast the Pegasaur Monday or the Pegasaur Tuesday. Unfortunately, my internet was very unstable. We spoke about it during the podcast last night. Again, I do recommend the podcast. You know, we're catching up on all the news of the week. But as we were catching up, I did mention how my internet was very unstable. It was actually down almost the entire day yesterday. It was very upsetting, very sad, very frustrating. It was a little bit out of our control, and I was really scared that the internet, because we called up our ISP and they said that they could send out a technician on Monday. And it's like, mate, that's after Dallas weekend. Like, what do you what do you mean Monday? What are you talking about? So it was very frustrating, very sad. But thankfully, those issues have since been resolved, and we are back. But it does mean that we missed out on half a day of casting, so I do apologize. Again, Pegasaur Monday, we'd miss it, and unfortunately, we don't really have time to go into a replay cast and cover it again. Just because our schedule's already so jam-packed, but we should be, you know, smooth sailings from here on forward. Fingers crossed, man. As for now, Stargate opener out of Classic, standard stuff. Again, we didn't really expect Classic to deviate too much. Now, Classic, he is one to go into Glaive Adepts from time to time, so we'll see if he does go for a Glaive follow-up. For now, though, it is going to be a standard opener out of Reynor, going for his third base, droning, saturating, getting to link speed, pulling out of cast. Everything's looking as it should. Likewise, Classic should be going for an Oracle first based on the rally, but he can always open up Void Ray. And there it is. It is going to be the Oracle. Okay, so Oracle first, everything's still looking quite standard. Oracle opener into the third base. Again, there's not too much variance when it comes to the early game of ZVP outside of the Protoss player going into a Twilight Council opener, which obviously didn't happen. We can still see an early Twilight Council as the third base is taken, so we're keeping an eye open here for Classic to see if he does go for earlier tech. Otherwise, we're heading in a pretty standard direction here, and we're loading into Tokamak. I didn't get to talk about it, but welcome one and all to Tokamak. Tokamak is one of the more larger macro maps in the map pool. We often see longer games because of that. This is one of the few maps where it is very defendable on 3 and 4 bases, so much more defendable here. Because of that, I do favor Classic when it comes to gearing up into a longer game. I know that Classic, he is one that is willing to go into the late game, into Sky Toss at a moment's notice if he is able to, if he's allowed to. Classic does hit the third. Again, just poking in, taking out some lava, nothing major, no major damage, not yet. Classic does take his third. Speaking of fast Twilight Council, there we go. Twilight Council's on the way. This was thrown down in the first quarter here of the lifespan of this third base, so we might see an earlier Forge, or we might just see Glaives out of this. I say earlier Forge, there's no Forge. There's no Forge alongside this, so this does feel like Glaives. Never mind. Later Forge, earlier Twilight Council, looks like Blink out of Classic. A much safer style. Basically, because the Twilight Council was so fast, it does mean that Blink is going to be faster. It does mean that if Reynor were to go for a 2-base all-in or a 3-base all-in, Blink would be done in time to defend. It also means that the upgrade is going to be later, unfortunately, but it's going to be in favor of the faster upgrade, of the faster Blink timing. Oracles poke in, they get a couple of drone kills. 3 drones go down, not bad. Meanwhile, we have the fast even chamber out of Reynor going into +1 melee, going into more Ling heavy composition. The Roach one should just be for safety. This should be Ling into Hydra. Do have the initial 6 adepts. They do commit to the shade. And they can trade well here. Yeah, there are some Lings in position, but the Lings, they should all go down. Yeah, 3 Lings remaining, down to 0. Adepts, they butts into the main. At the same time, Oracles, they are deflected. Stage trap going off here, catching a couple of drones. Do catch a couple of workers at the same time. Ling counterattack, getting even more probes though. 5 workers, almost 6 probes going to be going down. Nice run by here by Reynor. At the same time, Adepts, they do deny some mining time, but nowhere near as much damage. So shade away, and they are cleaned up. As it settles, Reynor in a better position. Again, this Ling run by should not have gotten as much damage. 7 probe kills. Aye. Very nice damage dealt here by Reynor. A nice adaptation considering that he was in a bit of trouble here back at home when it came to dealing with those adepts, but he shuts them down. He gets a counter damage done, and Reynor is in a better position. From here, he's droning. Now he can take a 4th base. He can tech up. We should be seeing a Hydrogen soon, as we don't have one yet, which is a little bit concerning. Right now, gases are being taken in preparation in lieu of those Hydras. Meanwhile, we have our tech of choice. This has been very trendy. This is very mainstream, very standard. That is going from +1 and Blink into not Colossus, but Storm. Because of the Twilight Council change, because of the NG overcharge change, Storm follow-ups have been very trendy as of late, have been very popular, and are now more expected. Meanwhile, if you recall, I was waiting for the Hydrogen. We didn't see one. Reynor taking a massive risk going into Mutas. Very greedy, very risky play here by Reynor. We'll see if he can get away with it. For the time being, no tech has been scouted, but as I mentioned, it is not uncommon for a Zerg player to be going into Hydras from here, so Classic is still unaware. Classic doesn't know that there's some crazy tech coming his way. Classic is in the dark. Revelation sees gases. But again, this could just be for Hydras, this could just be for Lurker tech. Lane drop into the main, and Classic is still trying to figure out what's going on. Is still in the dark. Likewise, Lings, they get a full surround, and they're going to be able to force a cancel, not bad. Ooh, yeah, the base is denied. Oracles, they race back home to defend, and what's important is that this isn't just denying bases, this isn't just doing economic damage, this is keeping the Oracles busy. How do you typically scout as Protoss? With hallucinations or with your Oracles? Like, the Oracles, they should be across the map, they should be revealing, they should be keeping eyes on mineral lines, on gases, on production, but they're stuck at home against these Lings. The Lings, they only get 3 probe kills, but again, it's not about the damage, it's about the time that they're buying. Likewise, more Ling shop. Now, at this point, suspect. At this point, non-stop Ling aggression, non-stop Ling round buys. Where's the gas being spent? Sure, you can still make an argument that, you know, maybe he's teching and maybe he's getting into Hydras back at home, but something is wrong here. The gas should be being spent somewhere, and we know it's Mutas, and Classic, does he piece it together? Yeah, stack defense here at his 4th base, stack at the 3rd, no stack in the natural, no stack in the main. He is not fully aware. There we go, now he knows. Cannon's on the way. I say now he knows. He has an inkling. He has an idea that something is amiss. Based on this cannon placement, it looks like to defend against Ling round buys. Or Ling drops, I should say. Not against Muta play. It's not protecting the mineral line. And here we go. Mutas, they are now revealed in Classic. He had no idea. The pants are down, Bobby. The pants are down. He had no idea. Forces a recall. 3 pro kills fall already. Gets 3 workers. Rotates into the natural. Up. Gets up to 5. Yeah, 5, 6 probes going to be going down, getting up to 7. Oof, losing a Muta in the process. But so far, this is the kills they're racking up. At the same time, Lings, they do hit the 4th. Yeah, they force out Storms, they catch out High Templar. Massive pickoffs here from Reynor. He's just pulling Classic apart. 24 probe kills, and not just 24 probes on the base as well. The expansion is going down behind this. Roach speed is on the way. Roach production has begun. He needs those Roaches to survive the counterattack. And again, Reynor, he is going to force that counterattack as Classic, he's at this point all in. 32 probe kills and the 4th base. Classic, he has no economy. On top of that, he has no High Templar either. 1 High Templar was killed. More Archons are morphed in. There's 2 High Templar remaining. No NG for Storm. It's going to be a rough all in, but Classic, what else can he do? Reynor's maxing. Reynor is maxing out. He's on 89 workers. He's on 5 bases. Yep, here comes the all-in. Now, this can still trade very efficiently, true, but there's no storm. Like if there were like 4 High Templar instead of 2, if there were more High Templar and like a War Prism, then I could have faith in this army. I could be like, yo, he's down 60 supply, he can still win. Like, he's still got a terrifying Protoss army. But here, less so. Again, there's the first storm. There's going to be 1 storm left. Takes out the expansion, which is nice, but he needs more than that. Classic, he needs more than just a base. And now he's on the back foot. Reynor moving in. Classic. Oh no, the High Templar! Force him morph into an Archon. 0 storms. I say that 6 High Templar just morphed in. It's a lot of Templar. Ooh, as Reynor, he does catch up the Archons. 1, 2 Archons going down. At the same time, Mutas are still alive. Ooh, they hit the 3rd. Ultra Cavern's on the way. Hive is done. Ultra's going to be on the horizon. Making use of those melee upgrades. Likewise, using another 12 probes. I say 12 up to 19. Up to 19 workers, and again, Classic, you just cannot keep up with these mutas. And this all came down to the scouting, or it came down to the lack of scouting. As we mentioned, Reynor, the MVPs of this game were the Zerglings. The Zerglings, time and time again, you can even see them here. They were hitting the 3rd, the 4th, the main, the 4th again, the main base again. And it was all about buying time, all about keeping Classic busy and making sure he never scouted. And he never did. Never did scout. And that was the death of Classic in this game. Classic does threaten the tithe. Now again, moving out. We'll see what he can get done. 1009 mining here at the center expansion at the same time. Reynor going for a massive Link counterattack. Link Bane counterattack even. And again, this expansion doesn't really matter as much to Reynor. Does hit the base, gets some of the cannons, does force a recall, and Reynor is just happy to trade. Is content to trade, picks up some Stalkers. And remember, Ultras are on the way with Kindness Plating and +3. And the upgrades are insane. Ultras, they can tank some storms. I'm not too sure if the army is large enough here for Reynor, but he will push in regardless. He does tank those storms. Now backs off. Meanwhile, 13 more probes go down. Nice storm here on the Lings. Very nice. Cleans them all up. Is there a world where Classic can maybe weather the storm and then break out? The problem here is that he doesn't really have any immortals. You can see double robo production on the way. He now recognizes the threat and the importance of immortal production to deal with the Ultras. But currently he has no immortals. These Ultras, they're a problem. Takes down the expansion. We have 6 more Ultras on the way. Reynor once again getting into the mineral line, chasing down the main army. And Reynor, he needs to trade. Like, this isn't about preserving his units as much, because he's gonna have a very ultra heavy composition. But I believe he has infestors. Yeah, he has fungal. He has fungals. There we go. Locks down the army. Oh my god, landing another chain fungal here. But that did cost Reynor a lot of ultras. Regardless, it's fine, he can afford it. Reynor, he's on 80 workers, he can still afford it. He's double expanding behind this, going for that center goal base once again. Breaks through the main army, gets into the mineral line. And the Ultras, they just keep piling in. They just keep coming. They don't stop. Takes down the Immortal, takes down the High Templar. It looks like Reynor, he has finally done it. He is working the back of Classic. I mean, did so quite some time ago at this point, but Classic, he was hanging in there. GG gets called, and Reynor takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Reynor, he does take a lead in the series. Again, very nicely done, but a lot of this did hinge on the fact that he did hide his tech. Again, it all came down to the mutas. You know, you can be the best Protoss player in the world, but if you miss a muta switch and a muta tech switch like that, then, I mean, it can all be over then and there. Classic, he had no answer. He had some Blink Stalkers, he had some Archons, he had some Storms, that is true, but he could not keep up with the mobility of those mutas, and they did end the game. Remember, they killed, what, 32 probes? And a 4th base. It was crazy just how much damage they dealt the mutas in conjunction with the lings on the ground and even a couple of roaches. And really impressive play there by Reynor. Meanwhile, Classic, it's going to be on him to be more on top of scouting, more on top of recognizing what kind of tech Reynor is going for. Now, I do not expect Reynor to play mutas again in this series. Like, typically, this is something that you do once in a best of 3, and we shouldn't rely on it because, as we mentioned, this was heavily reliant on Classic missing the tech. And now that you've done it once, now that you've shown your hand, chances are your opponent's going to be much more adamant and much more vigilant when it comes to scouting, when it comes to checking what you're up to. So I feel like from here, we should be relying on something a little bit different. But for now, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of lane lines, we have the Italian Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Basilisk, leading the series 1-0. It is Reynor. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. We go. And again, Reynor did end last game in style, going into Ultras, but to be honest, he could have done anything at that point. He could have just stuck with Ling Bane or Ravager, could have teched up into Lurker tech instead. Like, Reynor was just that far ahead after the mutas. But as you mentioned, we do not expect mutas again in this series. Maybe if like we skip mutas in game 1, and if it goes to the ace match, maybe again in the ace match, but even then, not too fond of the idea. For now, Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener here out of Reynor. Likewise, a Classic going for his own standard opener as well. Nothing crazy yet. As a reminder, we didn't really have much deviation last game. Reynor went for a safety Roach Warren. He went Eva Chamber first into plus on melee, into what I assumed initially was going to be Ling Hydra, but no, it was Ling Muta instead. Meanwhile, Classic, he himself did open up standard Stargate, Oracle, third base into plus 1 Ling Stalkers, into delayed +1 as well. So we'll see if they do go for some different starts, some different openers. Now everything's looking as it should. Also, welcome to Leylines. Leylines is one of the more standard maps in the map pool. It's very middle of the road. It's not too large, not too small. Rush distance is, again, kind of middle of the road compared to all the other maps out there. We often see longer games or a lot of mid-game as a result. Like, the 4-base setup is relatively defendable as long as you're able to keep up with your opponents. You can get in position to defend. We'll see. We can get more of a back and forth here. But now, once again, Stargate. Once again, Stargate opener out of Classic. See, that does red in the shade. They're basically to be taken. Oracle first, not Void Ray. I mean, Classic, he is one to mix in Void Ray openers from time to time. I mean, infamously, he did, you know, popularize Void Ray into Tempest Rush. That was last year on Alcyone. What, 2 years ago at this point, right? Like November of 2023. Jesus, it's been a while. Has been a while. Meanwhile, Reynor, he does make 6 lings, or he does make an extra pair of lings. He does head across the map, headed towards the 3rd location. He's here to delay. At the same time, Classic does threaten a dive, threatens a shade. Here come the lings, and Reynor, he may snipe the probe, and he shouldn't force a cancel, as the 2nd Oracle should arrive. That's gonna be close. It's gonna be very close. Oh no, and he won't quite force the cancel. Whew. Okay. More Lings have arrived, but now they're Adepts, and yeah, now we should be okay. Classic, he should hold on. Second Oracle moves out. And behind this, we have our Twilight Council alongside Forge. This is a little bit earlier. This should be Pulse on and Blink, but we'll see if we go into a Charge follow-up instead. On a smaller map like Ley Lines, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Does make more sense than we would see on Tokamak, for example. Oracle's a back off. Okay, plus on Blink Stalkers. Never mind. So this is going to be a later blink timing compared to last game, but an earlier Forge as a result. So this is a more standard setup. We have our Gateway Explosion behind this, getting up to 6 gates on 2 bases. Oracle pokes in, Stasis Trap, catching just one. Once again, it is going to be the same build out of Reynor. Remember last game we saw earlier Eva Chamber +1 melee, safety Roach Warren. Last game this led into Ling Muta. This time this should be for Ling Hydra, I would imagine. We are waiting for the lair. Overload is shut down. Once again, Temple Archives, this is for Storm, for Archons. Now, with the Gateway Explosion that's coming out, Classic can be a little bit more assertive this time. He wasn't really active last game with his Stalkers. He wasn't able to apply too much pressure. We'll see if he does this time. Yep, there it is, Hydrogen. As we assumed here, Reynor, he would be going Mutas 2 games in a row. He is going Ling Hydra instead, which means this time we're going to have more of a back and forth. The purpose of Mutas, it's high risk, high reward. If it goes unscattered, it can just win you the game. And it did do so last time. Here, this is more straight up. This is more to get into the mid game, more of a back and forth. This can lead into a 3-base all-in. You can see Reynor, he does cut workers at 66, but we have a couple more drones on the way, and we can decide to saturate the 4th base, or Reynor can cut workers and go all-in. As Reynor is squeezing out a couple of drones. Baliness is on the way. Stalkers have arrived. Oh, first Aces is baited out, but there's another behind this. Lings, they attempt to catch reinforcements. And so far, Classic trading well. Another nice Aces. Stasis goes up. Lings, they hit the would-be 4th, but last Adepts are in position. Classic pushing in, spots the Hydras. Unlike the last game, if you remember, Classic, he never saw anything. He never saw what the gas was being spent on. Now he does. Now he's aware of the Hydras. Now he can rest easy. He knows there's not going to be Muta. And we're building up. Stalkers, a race back home. Reynor, he rotates over towards the 4th. Classic auto, getting position, gets Revelation. Storm is already done. And you can see Classic just look much more comfortable here compared to last game. He's getting a 4th base, he's keeping up with the Lings. From here, Reynor, he did make the decision, Infestation Pit. This tells us Lurker Tech. Tells us that we're taking up into Hive, taking up into Lurkers. We're building up into a longer, later game. Classic is pushing through. Does push through. Hive is still on the way for Reynor. Reynor, he's not ready for Lurker Tech. He has purely Ling Hydra. Where are the Banelings? Without Banelings, this is going to be a tough hold. And by tough hold, I mean, oh, he cannot hold on. No shot. The base is going to go down. Classic is overwhelming. Zealot right towards the top side, going for another base. And this army here, Reynor, he just can't engage. Again, he never got a Baleen. Oh, sorry, he did. My apologies. Did get a Baleen Nest, got Baleen Speed, but never invested. Yeah, Lindsay shut down towards the top side. We have Sky Toss on the way for Classic. I would say this is a little bit unnecessary, but sure. And he gets 2 bases, takes down the 4th and the 5th. Reynor knocked down to 3. Reynor having a hard time keeping up. Reynor, he does get into the main. I believe he does scout all the tech. Yeah, he's aware of the Stargate. He's aware of the Sky Toss. Classic, I feel like, can keep pushing, but I mean, he's playing it safe. As we mentioned, he's backing off, securing his fourth, throwing down a wall of cannons and shield batteries, and getting ready for the late game. Meanwhile, Reynor, he has yet to throw down his own Lurker Den. He has Hive, he can get into Viper tech. But again, Classic playing it safe. He pulls away. Tempest production has begun. Technically, I do think that Classic could have just kept pushing and just ended it and just killed the third. But here, he's just playing out a longer game state. He's playing the long game, essentially. Just getting further ahead. Teching up. Carrier production has begun. Same time, Reynor going for a lane run by. The wall is a wall, is not hero. Oh no, does find an immortal though. Not bad. Morsel is gonna go down. Nice catch. Considering that Reynor is switching into ultras, the idea of going into an ultra switch, it's a little bit short-sighted. Ultras, they can do quite well against a ground army like this. They do not help support against Skytoss though. So this is a very heavy Lingbane Ultra composition. Hydras are here to support. And I'm concerned for Reynor. Again, he scouted this. He knows. I mean, unless he didn't click is the problem. Like, his Overseer saw the buildings, but I don't know if he's fully aware of what the Overseer saw. Otherwise, we should be seeing a Spire. We should be seeing a Spire. We should be seeing some Vipers. The reason why Lurkers are a better complement to this army is because you're already investing into Hydras initially to help defend against the Sky Toss. But we'll see. As Banelings have morphed in, you can see that they just threaten away all those Zealots. Oof. Half of them get shut down. Nice storm towards the end. And with that Classic, he should hold on here. Yeah, Classic does hold. The main army is soon to be revealed. Now it's only 2 carriers. It's soon to be 4 carriers, but again, the anti-air here is very limited. There's 27 Hydras. You could argue, that's a lot of Hydras. It is for now, but Storm has something to say about that. It's like, up against Storms, like 27 Hydras, that's nothing. That's like 2 Storms. That's what 2.5. Mothership is spotted. We have 6 Ultras on the way. And we'll see how Reynor can handle this push. Because he is maxed, but again, this is where the soup does lie. One army is not quite like the other. Now, considering how many Archons there are and how few carriers there are, I do still feel like Reynor has a solid chance to clean up the ground army at least, for sure. I can see him breaking those Archons. Now, the real question becomes, when it comes to the next fight, is can Reynor get on top of the High Templar and kill the High Templar before the Storms? I'm referring to the Ultras, right? The role of the Ultra in this kind of composition is to dive on those High Templar, force out the Storms, lock them down, and allow the Hydras to overwhelm. So we'll see if the Ultras can get there. There's 4 High Templar. Prism is in between the bases. Spire is now on the way. This is a late Spire, very late. And here we go, he's going for it. There's for Storm. Storm on mainly Ultras. There's a recall. He recalls back to his army. Okay, interesting. I don't know if that was meant to happen. But High Templar, one High Templar is going to be going down. He gets 1. Ooh, and there's 1 left. It's also going to go down. Oh, never mind. Gets away. Okay. He recalled to like blink like a couple of steps forward. Like, I don't think that was intentional. I don't think that was meant to happen. I think that was meant to be a slow zone, by the way. Classic, he panicked. He just slammed the keyboard, pressed everything. Sure. All right, hey, you saved the High Templar. True. As also do get into the mineral line. behind this more carriers. And the problem here is that now, sure, Reynor, now he's taking into a spire, but this is so delayed. These are going to be 0-0 corruptors. He's not ready for the Sky Toss, and at this point it is going to be Sky Toss. We have 5, soon to be 8 carriers against only Hydra. Like, there's no Infestors, there's no Microbial Shroud, there's no Vipers, there's no Blinding, also there's no Parasitic Bombs or Abductions. More importantly, Ultras are going to be thrown away. Right now, these Ultras are almost dead supply. Like, we need to get rid of them. We're trading Ultras against Cannons. It's a better trade for Classic. As Classic, does save the Mineral Line. Here come the Immortals. They should save the base. Oh god, a massive storms on the Hydras. Oh god. And yeah, Reynor, you can see he plummets in supply. He was at 200, now down to 138. As we mentioned, the soup does lie. One is not quite like the other. And Classic, with the hyper efficient army he's pushing in, we have 7 more Ultras in production. But again, Ultras are not going to save Reynor. Not against this. Not like this. Reynor with the Remax, but Classic, I still favor his army. As Reynor, he has 6 Hydras. Takes down the base. And so Classic, there's no reason to back off from here. Like, Classic can just keep pushing forward. You can just keep pushing in. Last time he was in this position, if you remember, he backed off, he retreated, he got into Sky Toss. But at this moment, like, there's no reason to retreat. And here we go. Slows down on the main army. Storms as well. The Ultras, they run into the Storms. Hydras, they run in as well. And the army melts. Yeah, the Zerg army just melts here. Taking down every single Ultra. GG gets called. And Classic, he will tie up the series 1-1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. With that, does claim the series. Oh, sorry, does take a lead in the series, or tie up the series, I should say. And now we're getting into game number 3. Now, again, I don't blame Reynor for going into like a Ling Hydra based composition. That was fine. Unfortunately, he did see the Sky Toss ahead of time, and he didn't react to it. Now, once again, as I mentioned, the Overseer saw the Sky Toss, the Overseer saw the Fleet Beacon, and saw the Stargates. It looks like Reynor didn't click on the buildings. It looks like even though the Overseer saw it, I don't think Reynor actually took note of it until much later. But despite that, eventually when the mothership was revealed, when the carriers were revealed, Reynor, he didn't react to that, in the sense that he didn't throw down the Spire in that moment. He did decide to commit into Ultras. You could argue that maybe he was too far gone, like maybe it was too late, and like he had already like doubled down into Katniss plating, he'd already doubled down into Ultra production. So like it's a hard call to make in that moment, to like hard switch into Corruptor. But because he didn't, he was kind of stuck on Ultras, and it was just a really awkward transition out of it. You could argue that by then it was too late. By then it was like too late to go into Corruptors anyway, and he was too far behind. There's definitely an argument to be made there, but regardless, GG well played. With that, the series gets tied up, and we are getting into the ace match, alluding into Ultra Love for game 3. Let's go. Let us go. And we'll see if we go back into Mutatech, or if we embrace Hydras, or if we go for something a little bit different. Let's find out. As spawning in the right hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing his new team, representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. And oh my god, spawning, okay, in the bottom left hand corner, going for the Extractor trick, we have the Italian Zerg player for Basilisk. It is Reynor. We go. Soon same number of carriers as our Hydras. I mean, there was a time in that game where I think we had 9 or 10 carriers against 6 Hydras. It was aye. Also, very quickly, there's a weird conversation happening in the chat that's completely unrelated to StarCraft. So I would say, hey, take it somewhere else if you wish. We're here for StarCraft, here for GSL. But here we go. So far, we do have a Hatch Gas Pool, Standard Opener out of Reynor. Likewise, Gate Expand out of Classic. Everything so far looking as it should. Do we know if Reynor is going for Season 2 GSL or Dallas? If you tune into the podcast, we were live with the podcast yesterday. Last night, we went over the players. The official player list has been revealed, and everyone is going to Dallas. I think there were some people coping about like visa issues or immigration issues or anything like that. But we checked and like all the top players are going. So I think all the top GSL players like Bunny, Kior, Byun, Classic, Hero, Zaun, Maru, Byun, Solar, Shin, Rogue, like everyone. All the Koreans are going, all the top Europeans are going. When I say top Europeans, Showtime, Spirit, Reynor, Serral, Clem, Skillus, Mana, Geralt, Jumi, like everyone's there. I think we were trying to find a player that wasn't going. I think Nightmare is the only Korean, only like big notable Korean that isn't going, but Nightmare is very out of practice. Like Nightmare, he's playing Deadlock nowadays, so it makes sense that Nightmare wouldn't go. But I think Nightmare is the only big Korean that isn't going. And from the European side, I think you have to go down to Gabe is going as well. Gabe is going. For the European side, I think Laser's going, Lambert's going. You have to go down to like players like Young Yakov or Wayne or Nicaract or Iba or Christiana. Like those are the level players that aren't going to Dallas, but like everyone, like literally everyone else is going. It's crazy. Just like the player list that's going to Dallas is insane. It's going to be a stacked tournament. Max Wax, yeah, but that's a given. Like no one ever believes that Max Wax is going to go. That's like that's a default. Of course he's not going to go. But yeah, anyone who's anyone is going to Dallas. But the player list was revealed yesterday, I believe. So we went over it during the podcast. Meanwhile, once again, standard opener, Hatch Gas Pool out of our Zerg player. Likewise, Classic going into his Stargate opener, Oracle into a third base. We should gamble on who the US doesn't let in. I think they're going to let everyone in. Like, I don't think there's any reason to believe they wouldn't. I think we already have photos of players like getting into their hotel rooms. Like Jimmy and Geralt, they were of course posting on Instagram. I think Byun as well. Byun, he was posting on Instagram. I think Byun was traveling with the Vitality Boys, with Maru and Zaun and Ryung. As Oracles, they poke in, they do catch a couple workers. Behind this, we do have our Twilight Council pull off. I don't see a Forge, by the way. Ooh, no Forge alongside this. Are we going finally into Glaives? Classic is, yep, there it is. Glaives are on the way. So Classic, he's been playing standard this entire game, and now he is being more aggressive here. He's going to be doubling down. Sorry, I'm going to say standard the entire series, but Classic does double down into Glaive Adepts. From here, oh. Does from the Shadlings, they do hit the third. Last Adepts are in position. So far, going to be zoned away. As the Overlord does confirm. Now, thankfully, Reynor, he did get a Safety Roach Warren, so Safety Roach Warren has been thrown down. Reynor, he's been quite greedy. He's getting a fourth base. He's joining up to 60 here. We need Roaches. We need Roaches soon. Right now, it's pure Ling production, and he has access to Roach Tech, but he's not making anything. Reynor's being greedy, and he saw everything. He saw the Twilight Council. Oh, he saw the fake Forge. No, he saw the... Okay. Never mind, I didn't realize a fake Forge was thrown down. We are getting into +1, but this is very late, very delayed, and here come the Adepts. Here come the Adepts. Basically, you never get a Forge with the Twilight Council with Glaives. It's typically not done together. And Adepts, they have arrived. They go for the first Queen. The Queen goes down. Adepts, they shade in towards that natural. The wall is up. True. Wolves up and running. So far, no damage done yet. No economic damage. And Reynor, he's holding. So far, so good. Did I speak too soon? Ah, we did. And I'd say shade into the main base. 4 or 5 drones going to be going down. This is okay damage for Classic, but he needs more. He needs more damage, and he's going to get it. Here we go. Adept shade in towards that third. Stasis is denied. Lings are here to defend. And so far, Reynor is keeping up. Reynor is keeping up. More Adept shade into the natural. And Reynor, he does minimize losses. He loses 10 drones in total. I would say this is an acceptable damage. Losing only 10 workers. Behind this, as a reminder, this was no all-in. Classic, he's on 3 bases. He's taking up into +1, Blink, and Storm. Now, the Forge is going to be faster than normal. I should say +1 is faster than normal because we had the earlier Forge. That is going to be a factor here. Stalkers are amassing, and the game continues. Ooh, no roach speed. Yeah, no roach speed here for Reynor, so he has no counterattack potential. Reynor is going to be stuck at home. There's the revelation. And Classic's fine. Yeah, Reynor, he doesn't move out. Like, he can't move out with this. No speed. Oh, so Reynor, he's stuck re-droning, going into Hydra production. Oh! Does catch the Oracle. Not bad. Does zone the Oracle away. Oh, has one Oracle goes down. So now moving out. Yeah, Reynor getting a decent surround here. We're not quite going for the expansion, going for the army instead. And Classic, he will be able to hold. He defends. Reynor, in the meantime, he's taking up in towards Lurker tech. I mean, if you recall, I assumed last game he was going into Lurkers, then he switched into instead Ultra production, which was, you know, something he committed to, wasn't quite worth it. This time, Reynor does have +1 range, so he's more suited and more set up for Lurker tech instead. Not Ultras. As now Reynor has speed, he can now be more active. Yep, there's the Lurker Den on the way. So Reynor taking up towards the Lurkers. Reynor also successfully droning up to 83. Solid economy. Solid saturation. Reynor, he is holding onto that ramp. Likewise, Classic, do what I see, is taking Stargates, getting ready for Sky Toss. And we might be able to embrace a longer game. Nice Storm. Oh, good. Brutal Storm on the Hydras. And Classic can just bully his way forward. Without Lurkers, it's going to be a tough hold here for Reynor. Where are the Lurkers? Lurkers just now morphing in. 4 Lurkers on the way. Without them, he just cannot touch this army. There are so many Storms. And the Storms are coming in. Blinks on forward. Dives on the main army and just pushes himself off the ramp. Lurkers are morphing in at the third base, not in the natural. Yeah, we have Storms to just cover the retreat or cover the backside. Classic can just take control of the natural and just recall back home. Oh, there are more Storms. And Reynor's just been caught out of position. He's just out of position. He's caught outside of his base on the low ground, pushing into Storms. Oh, God. And there's, what, 1 Storm left. Oh, there it is. That was the final Storm. 20 drones going down. Archons, they do wrap up. They do finish. Pushing further into the bases. And Classic just trading so efficiently here. At the same time, Zelarame, sorry, Stalker counterattack towards the 4th. Classic pushing further in. Has control of the ramp. Takes down the Hydras. Just catches reinforcements. Likewise, Stalkers, they break into the mineral line. They blink down to the low ground as... Oh, good. They blink down to the low ground. Picking up more Hydras. And this Reynor's just being pulled apart here. Just being torn apart. Hydras going down. Lurkers going down. 17 drone kills. And doesn't even have to recall his army. He just rotates back. Now behind this, I'm a little bit concerned that he doesn't have any storms remaining. Checking the army here, yeah, there's one immortal back at home, there's no High Templar, but the reality is Reynor has no pushing power. Like, he has nothing left. Reynor, he's down to 3 lurkers and 4 hydras. He's stuck re-droning, re-saturating. Reynor took a lot of losses, a lot of hits. Like, Classic has a booming economy. And Classic is taking up into Skytoss. The fleet beacon is done. If he wants to, he can start. There we go. Tempest production has begun. He just build up his Tempest count and back off. So he does pull away. Does pull away, does rotate. Looking for a way in. And sure, like Reynor, he's gonna be able to stabilize here on Hydra Lurker tech and just build up and fortify himself and rebuild and set up, I should say. But what about the Skytoss, which is revealed? We are revealing the Tempest. Reynor, he's now aware. Nidus on the way. It makes the most sense. He's gonna go. Like, he has to try to end the game before the Skytoss gets out of hand, before Classic maxes out. As the game stands at the moment, Classic will max and will take this game, so there's a lot of pressure on Reynor to go for an all-in here, or to try to get some damage to recover. So the pressure is on. Nidus is on the way. Classic pushing forward. He's moving into 10 lurkers. Now 12. Now what's important here is that Classic isn't being passive. Like, he's not being passive, he's now pushing out. He could just back up and turtle up, and he's being more proactive instead. Oof. Catching up free hydras. Oh, it's not on the storm! Oh god. Storm pops off. Oh god, he gets baited in time and time again. The storms. Oh god, no, 3 times in a row, and with that there's 4 hydras remaining. Nidus into the main. This is the Hail Mary play here for Reynor. Yeah, he's just going in. He sends it. Every single lurker into the Nidus. Oh god, it's the only chance he has. Nidus does finish. Lurkers, they bust into the main. They get on top of the production. And the base trade has begun. And again, this is the best chance that Reynor has. Going for the base trade. He will lose his 3rd. He breaks the main, getting on top of the production. And Classic, he can always recall. Bear that in mind. He can either recall to the natural or recall to the 3rd. For now, he needs more damage. Zel's peel off into the mineral line. Classic going for the main. Snipes the infestation bit, which means no Vipers. No spellcasters. Meanwhile, Stargates are depowered. Lurkers, they bust into the natural now. Oh, more probes going down. They cannot escape. Meanwhile, Reynor losing every single drone, and I believe he does have some workers on the left hand side. He can maybe try to sneak out of base. He has no money. He needs money. Oh. Storm of the Queen. Lurker 10 goes down. Yeah, bases are falling, and Reynor, he can't afford an expansion. He's broke. He can't afford a base. So what you see is what you got in terms of buildings. Now, the Nidus does count as a building, I believe, so that is going to be a factor. Is that the Nidus has to be killed. Oof. Storm on the drones. But Classic can always recall. He can always recall back home. He does have an observer. And it looks like he is going for the recall. There we go, races back. There are 12 hydras. That's not going to be enough. Yeah, as the storms, they pop off. Tempest rally in. And aside from the observer getting sniped, which I believe was... Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, the army can't get much done. Observer moves in. Final lurkers going down. GG gets called, and Classic, he will claim the series 2-1, advancing on to the winners match. GG. GG, well played. Classic spicing things up towards the end. Again, game 1 and game 2 we had pretty standard builds at a Classic. It was Reynor that was being more cheeky and more cheesy, especially in game 1 by going into those mutas. But here in the ace match we did have Classic going into Glaive Adepts, and remember, he did not end the game, but he did enough damage. He was able to trade against Lings. He got, I want to say, 10 drones. He got 10 drones in total, and even though he didn't cripple, he didn't kill Reynor, he did enough damage to get himself into the mid game, into a longer game state. If you remember, Reynor, he had no roach speed, so he couldn't counterattack, he couldn't do anything with his army. He was stuck at home, and from there Classic was able to overwhelm, getting into High Templar, getting into Stalkers. Despite that, things were still quite close between the players, but if you remember, Reynor delayed his lurkers. He delayed his building any lurkers, and because of that, what won Classic the game was his Stalker move out with, it was like 8 High Templar, maybe 10 High Templar. I'm referring to the moment where he pushed into the natural, where he bypassed the army, he outpositioned Reynor, and got into the natural and had the high ground, and he was just storming behind him, and Reynor could not actually engage with the army without pushing into storms. Like, it was just a really awkward position for Reynor. Again, his lurkers were late, they were also at the third, so lurkers never really came into play, and that was critical damage. GG, well played. With that, Classic does advance on to the winners match. Reynor gets knocked down to the elimination match, and up next we have our next best of 3. Up next we have our best of 3 between Maru and GuMiho. Let's go. Is Reynor eliminated? That was game 1. That was the first match. GSL groups are double elimination, so no one is eliminated yet. Up next, we have our PvT between Maru and GuMiho. Now, once again, to reiterate, if you are watching the CranKy Ducklings, if you saw the qualifiers, you would know that this is a rematch. GuMiho did already beat Maru's Terran in the qualifiers for GSL, and now, as a result, Maru, he's not playing Terran, he's playing Protoss instead. Now, we have casted Maru's Protoss before, plenty of times. Notably, he played Protoss against Percival. This was like a year, 2 years ago. But Maru, he does dabble in off-racing, does dabble in Protoss from time to time. But I haven't seen his Protoss in quite some time, so I'm curious to see how much it's improved and how well it looks here against GuMiho. Obviously, for Maru to pick Protoss, he is not confident in his TVT. As you mentioned, he already lost to GuMiho with his Terran, so now he's playing with his Protoss, and we'll see how he fares. We'll see how he compares to GuMiho. What's scary about this is that I would maybe even favor GuMiho's Terran against Clem's Protoss. Like, GuMiho has really unique TVP. I'm referring to his mech. Like, he plays a lot of all-ins, a lot of really weird timing attacks, and even plays mech against Protoss. Like, GuMiho is a scary player to go up against in this matchup, and I fear for any Protoss up against GuMiho. But here we go. Here we go. We're jumping to game number 1. As game 1 is going to be on ley lines. But yeah, you could argue that GuMiho has some of the best TVT in the world. I would contest that Ryung maybe has better TVT than GuMiho, but I think I might say they're top 2 when it comes to Terran versus Terran. But here we go, we're getting to our next matchup, and spawning in the top right hand corner of ley lines, we have the South Korean, typically Terran player, but now he is the Protoss. For Team Vitality, it is Maru. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing his new team, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho, also known as S8UL. Let's go. Again, all the top players have since been picked up by other teams. As we mentioned last night, as we have been mentioning for the past couple of months at this point, or maybe 4 weeks at this point, Estrella is the only player that has yet to join a new team, and I feel like a lot of whether or not he will join a new team is relying and residing on his DreamHack Dallas performance. So looking forward to seeing and cheering for Estrella there, and I'm hoping that he is able to have a good run. Again, Estrella's been on fire as of late, so best of luck. As we have had new teams like Seoul Esports, for example, step into the ring, and support players like GuMiho. We had Sentinels, of course, pick up Showtime. We had Weibo Gaming pick up Shin. Virtus Pro for Classic. almost all the big names. As from here, we are settling in. So far, single gas opener bodes well for Maru. So GuMiho does open up with a Rax Expand economic opener out of our Terran player. Meanwhile, Maru back at home going for his own Gate Cyber Expand setup standard opener out of Maru. Sorry, just dying for a moment. But yeah, so far so good. We do have a Sentry-based opener as well. Very safe play out of Maru, going for his Sentry, going for Hallucinations. Now, I'm curious to see how Maru's play has changed over time. Last time we cast him, he played a lot of Blink Stalker. He played a lot of Twilight Council into 3 or 4 gate Blink against Percival. We'll see if that trend continues. There we go, Twilight Council out of Maru. There are options here. You can go Stargate, you can go Robo. Robo play is very safe. Maru, I would imagine, would want to enjoy something more Blink heavy, something more micro intensive. When it comes to Clem's PvT, for example, it's very standard. Clem, he very often plays 3 gate Blink into a third base, into the mid game, into Storm. Like, Clem is very standard when it comes to his play. When it comes to his Protoss, we'll see how Maru fares. Now we do have our 1-1-1 follow-up. We have the faster tech lab on the factory. Ooh, actually, never mind. No SCV scout, no SCV scout, no Reaper scout. A very fast starport and tech lab as a result. GuMiho just preserving his gas in preparation for those cyclones. And this can be cyclone into a second cyclone or cyclone into early tank. Or we could even see an add-on swap. The lock-on though, lock-on is brutal. Stalker is going to go down. Yeah, massive pick off early on. Nicely done here by GuMiho. Second cyclone is on the way, and GuMiho is going to be dropping. Speaking of, here comes that drop. So the goal here for GuMiho is to try to catch out the economy, to try to get some economic damage. Hallucination moves in. And Maru the scout is going to be denied. Shot goes up. He does not see what's going on. For all he knows, there could be a tank, there could be another cyclone, there could be an add-on swap into Banshee play. It's going to be a Raven follow-up. But Maru is in the dark. Behind this, how many gates? We're getting up to a 2 gates or a 3 gate setup. Very safe. So 3 gate Blink. Maru, he does miss the drop. Uh-oh. And the drop is missed. GuMiho starter steps in. Gets 1, 2, 3 probe kills. Very nice damage, and he does get away. 3 probes, 1 Marine. That is well worth it. So base gets thrown down. GuMiho is here to deny. Maru out of position. Blink is not done. Ooh, in this space, it's gonna go down. Aye. And Maru getting pulled apart here. Again, 10 seconds before Blink. GuMiho up. Threading another drop. He shouldn't delay. Yeah, there we go. Blink is now done. Takes down the medevac. And takes down the cyclones. So nice cleanup here from Maru. Unfortunately, this was needed 10 seconds ago. This was needed before the first cancellation, so GuMiho is in a better position. Hallucination does get a full scout. It does confirm the tanks. It does confirm the add-ons. Now GuMiho is building up. It's building up back at home. Maru is still trying to claim that third base. Now taking up into a Robo, into a Forge. This should be for charge and +1. Should be. Yeah, there we go. Charge on the way for +1. This is standard play out of Maru, but the problem is that he is delayed because of the late third, right? Because of the disrupted economy, because of the late expansion. Like, everything is a little bit shaky here. Everything is a little bit off. Maru does head towards the main. Oh. Tanks are in position. Maru getting high ground vision. Does see the 3 tank setup. Maru, he should not push into this. He cannot push into this. instead of rotating over towards the natural. Behind this, safety immortal. Third base getting saturated. We should soon be seeing a bay into Colossus production. That should soon be upon us. As GuMiho is expanding, getting a third CC. If you recall, we had a lot of all-ins out of GuMiho during the qualifiers in TVP. But not this time. Oh my god. Yeah, brutal tank shot. Oh, he flicks in! Brutal tank shot's going up. He gets one tank. He gets one. He barely gets two, but that was not worth it. He lost so many stalkers in the process. That should trigger a counterattack. That's how many stalkers going down. That was what? That was 8. 8 stalkers with 2 tanks. And there are how many left? 6. 6 stalkers remaining. GuMiho does on siege. Dropping into the mineral line. You know what that was? That was a patience blink. That's what that was. Patience. Get out of here. Go back to the military. No. As GuMiho doesn't push out, he's going to be dropping instead, claiming a third. Claiming a third base. Colossus production has begun for Maru. Getting into Colossus. Oh. Doesn't quite catch the medevac. Does drop in, just forcing reaction. Maru, he does respond to the drop. At the same time, here comes GuMiho going for the 4th, and Maru's out of position. He's out of position, or where he needs to be. The base is under fire, and he does get here in time, baiting at the mine shots. At the same time, he drops back in. Oh, no shot. 13-14. The entire mineral line goes down. Late reaction out of Maru. Does not pull away in time. That's going to be 15 probe kills. And can we deny extend double lance? We can. It's going to be shut down. Completely denied here. Massive snipe on the tech. Can he get +2? He can, and he will. Oh god. Brutal damage. Going back in once again. Going for the expansion. He wants it. Oh, doesn't quite get it. Does not get the Nexus. Kiting back. Widowmines are waddling in. The base is still getting low. Oof. The mine shots are brutal, and here we go. GuMiho, he breaks on through, takes out the Colossus, takes out the expansion, and he has pulled Maru apart. GG gets called. GuMiho takes game number 1. GG. GuMiho does take a lead. Again, Soul play there at a GuMiho, very aggressive as well. Maru just had a really rough opener. For Maru to be forced to cancel his base, for his scouting to be denied, was just a really brutal start. So there was a lot of pressure on Maru in the aftermath. If you remember, after the initial defense, after he finally got his third base, he did get across the map. There was pressure on him, and with that pressure being on Maru, he did decide to blink into the main. He lost everything though. He lost so many stalkers, and the problem with losing all those stalkers, it means that drop play is more effective. It means that there was that much less to try to keep up with the multi-pronged aggression of GuMiho. That's why he was pulled apart, because he was lacking stalkers, because he was spending his gas elsewhere on Colossus, on upgrades, on Immortals as well, and less on stalkers, as they should have survived the early to mid game. So because of that, he just didn't have those stalkers to defend. He could not keep up with the multi-pronged aggression, and with that, GG. GG well played. GuMiho does pull Maru apart, and now we're getting into game number 2, and we'll see if Maru can bounce back, recover, and force the ace match, or if GuMiho will take it from here. Let's go. So we're loading into Incorporeal. Since when is Maru playing Protoss? I think he first played Protoss maybe like 2022, maybe? It's been a couple of years. We've casted Maru off race, we've casted Hero off race, Dark off race. True. Recommend checking them out over on YouTube. Over on the CranKy Ducklings, as we're now getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left hand corner of Incorporeal. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing his new team, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the South Korean, now Protoss, not a Terran, not anymore. Representing Team Vitality, it is Maru. Now, I should emphasize, even though we've casted Maru play Protoss before, like, this is the first time he's playing Protoss at GSL. True. Like, first time he's playing it at GSL. And once again, just to reiterate, if you didn't watch the CranKy Ducklings, if you didn't watch us cover the qualifiers, you would know that GuMiho already beat Maru with his Terran. Like, they already played a TVT. GuMiho already beat Maru in the TVT. I imagine that is part of the reason why Maru is no longer playing Terran against GuMiho. That's why he's switching to Protoss, as we already covered that match. And GuMiho did take it. That was in the qualifiers for this tournament. So for now, double gas. Ooh, double gas open out of GuMiho. GuMiho going for a more aggressive start. Maru does scout, does confirm. And welcome to Incorporeal for the first time tonight. Incorporeal is one of the larger maps in the map pool, longer rush distance by ground. So I'm curious what the plan is here for GuMiho. With double gas, you can go into Reactor Reaper Hellion, you can go for early Cyclones, early drop play, you can go for early Starport. Early aggression here, or early tech, is what GuMiho is going to have available to him. And a later expansion. A later CC. Technically, you can turn this into an all-in. I don't really see that happening on a map like Incorporeal. Like maybe a map like Torches, for sure. Like some of these smaller maps, we can see one-base all-ins. But here, GuMiho should be expanding. I mean, it is GuMiho. Like, he is crazy, so have to always bear that in mind. But there we go. There's the expansion. Otherwise, Maru is opening up standard. TVT is dicey AF. Kind of. I mean, if you remember, I would say that's about all mirror matchups. I think that all mirror matchups are more coin flippy than the other matchups. That's why even before Clem, who was Clem copying? Clem was copying Reynor. Like Reynor, he avoided ZVZ way before Clem avoided TVT. Like Clem, he only started playing, competing as Protoss, what, last year? Whereas Reynor, he's been playing Protoss for years at this point to avoid ZVZ. Like it's not uncommon for players to avoid mirror matchups and play Protoss instead. Was it infamously Scarlets back in Heart of the Swarm played Protoss against DRG? True. I say famously, really. I would say that applies to all mirror matchups, except for PvP, I suppose. Like there aren't really many examples of a Protoss player off racing. They just play PvP. True. So now we do have our early tank production here out of GuMiho. If you recall, we did mention, we did try to emphasize GuMiho's build, double gas into what? Double gas into 1-1-1, into an early tank push, into an all-in. So he's going for the early all-in. This is designed to break a player going, no, we had a Stargate. I was so distracted with what we were talking about. Stargate open out of Maru. Maru, he's in danger. He's in trouble. Again, Maru, he has so little to defend because of the Stargate. He has an Oracle, he has 2 Phoenixes. There are Cyclones to protect. Ay. As GuMiho is rallying across the map. Pylon is under threat, under fire. GuMiho rotating. I mean, the stasis trap can delay. As GuMiho, he does rotate. Does he notice? Oh, he doesn't. But only on one Cyclone. GuMiho, he does pull the boys. The boys are being pulled. Now, the reason why he's pulling the boys is because right now Maru, he's vulnerable. Because of his opener, Phoenixes, they struggle against this kind of style. They struggle against early all-ins like this. Just because, what can they do? They can lift up the tank, but there are so many Marines and Cyclones to protect the tank. Like, the tanks, they should be safe to push forward. Immortals are a must. They're on the way. GuMiho knows he's so close to breaking his opponent. Liberation has arrived. The boys are here to repair the Cyclone. And the one and only shield battery is going to go down. And the problem is, if we break the natural, we break the rover. And that's going to be the death, the end of Immortals. Does start step in, going for the pylons. Second Immortals about to pop out. The boys are being pulled. Yeah, the boys are pulled. Immortal does pop. Does go for the lift. Not quite. Going for the medevac instead. There we go. Lifts up the tanks. First Immortal gets started down. Second Immortal as well. And GuMiho has done it. GuMiho, he has done it. He has broken through. Again, this is basically a hard counter to all in the player going Stargate. Maru, he just wants to play some mid game. He just wants to play some StarCraft, papi. Yeah. The rover goes down the bay as well. And there's no answer to these tanks. Remember, there's no blink, there's no charge, there's no Twilight Council. There's no way to deal with this army. Does lift one tank, but the Phoenix gets started down. And so does the other. Yeah, the Phoenixes are just targeted one after the other. GG gets called, and GuMiho will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the winners match. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here. GuMiho does claim the series, does advance on. Again, this was almost a hard counter. I think I would say with confidence, it was a hard counter here to a Stargate opener. Stargate play, this is why it's so risky, is that you are so vulnerable to early all-ins and early aggression like that. Like, you're so vulnerable and it's so difficult to defend to survive. Even players like Maxpex and Hero struggle with it, which is why they often don't play Stargate. Typically, Stargate play is reserved for larger maps like Tokamak, maps like Maganatha. To be fair, I think I would say Incorporeal is one of those maps as well, which is why it was a close defense, and there's a chance that maybe Maru squeezes out an extra Immortal and he's able to pop off like an NG overcharge, have more shield batteries, but regardless, he is broken then and there. That was a very tough hold, and with that, GG, well played. GuMiho, he does claim the series, and Maru having a bit of a harder time here in the first round, does get knocked down to the elimination match. Oh boy, does get knocked down. And with that, we have our group setting up. As we switch our scenes over and catch up on the brackets. As we catch up on the group itself, here we go from the top. Classic took down Reynor 2-1. GuMiho took down Maru 2-0. And up next, we have our winners match. It's going to be Classic versus GuMiho in that best of 3. Likewise, we also have the elimination match of Reynor versus Maru in that best of 3 as well. So best of luck to our players, to our competitors. We are going to be going on a short break as we are halfway through the broadcast. When we come back, we'll have Classic and GuMiho facing off in that winners match to determine the first player to make it through into the playoffs. Oh boy. I just ran Dallas top 40 illegal. It looks like they're all there. Yeah, we just looked at it. Again, I do recommend checking out our breakdown if you wish on the podcast, but like, all the top players are there. All the top players are going to Dallas. No one is not going. Like, almost no one. As we mentioned, like, Nightmare's not going, but Nightmare's very inactive. And so there are a handful of others. But with that, we're going to be going on a break, so we'll see you guys soon after the break with Classic versus GuMiho. See you soon. See you soon, Pappy. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of the broadcast, the second half of the 2025 GSL Season 1 Round of 8 Group B. We just wrapped up with our first two matches. We had some interesting matches. We had a back and forth between Classic and Reynor, but we also had something a little bit more one-sided between GuMiho and Maru. Again, GuMiho was hyper aggressive in that series, and Maru had a really hard time keeping up with GuMiho, at least when it came to his Protoss. But we'll see how GuMiho's TVP fares even further coming into our second series, into, I should say, our winners match to determine who makes it through into the playoffs. Who's the first player to make it out of the group into the round of 4? Is it going to be Classic or GuMiho? We're here to find out. Let's go. As we are jumping into our first series, game 1 is going to be on Pylon. Again, GuMiho is warmed up. At the same time, Classic, he also got a glimpse of what GuMiho has to offer. I don't know if there's really much to gain from that. GuMiho was just very aggressive, a little bit cheeky, of course, on Incorporeal, but now we're loading into Pylon. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Pylon, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho. As you will. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. So we're calming down as we are going to be settling in, and welcome on to Pylon. Pylon is a bit of a wider map, that is true. The map itself is a little bit larger, but the rush distance by ground is actually short. It's a shorter rush distance by ground. I should also emphasize it's a very direct rush distance by ground as well. We've seen a lot of aggression favored on Pylon, a lot of aggression, especially at the third base location. It's quite difficult to defend and survive certain timings and certain pushes, so we'll see how both Classic and GuMiho will approach this. I'm imagining aggression. Yep, there we go. Double gas opener out of GuMiho. Now, last time we saw GuMiho open up double gas was against Maru, and it was game 2 where he did go into a 1-1-1 early Cyclone into early tank into an early tank all-in against Maru. Now, this doesn't have to lead into an all-in, this doesn't have to lead into aggression, but it can. That's what's dangerous about double gas. This could lead into Reactor Reaper Hellion, this can lead into Banshees, it can lead into tank drop, it can lead into Cyclone drop. There's a lot of aggressive options here available to GuMiho, and GuMiho, he walls off and he denies the scout from Classic. So scouting is denied. For the Classic knows, it could be double gas, or it could be a CC further back on the high ground to expand on the low ground. Like, it is not uncommon for a Terran player to fake a more aggressive build and just go for the CC. So Classic is in the dark, and behind this may just rely on a sentry for a hallucination. It would make the most sense for now. Okay, going for the Adept. The Adept is a bit of a more aggressive option. It does provide some scouting, as he's going to be able to shade across the map, but we'll see if we can get into the main. See if he can get in. So now CC is on the low ground, on a location. Reaper gets across the map, and it does slip into the mineral line. No scouting. He's looking for pylons. The pylon placement here, I mean, there's a second pylon at the natural, first pylon further back at the ramp. Nothing else to confirm. Ooh, and the Reaper should be shut down. Oh, there we go. Reaper's cleaned up. And what is being done with that gas? So we initially have Reaper Hellion, true, but we do have a reactor on the way on the racks. We have a tech lab on the way on the factory, starports in production. This can lead into a Cyclone drop. This can lead into an add-on swap instead. We'll see what is done with the factory and with the starport. Meanwhile, we have the tech of choice. Classic is going into a Twilight Council, into Blink Stalker. Oh. Into Blink. Meanwhile, the wall is open. The wall is barely open in time. 1-2 probes going to be going down. Nice damage here from GuMiho. Hellion slips in, gets one more volley, and gets one more probe as a result. 3 probes, not bad. Can we get 4? We shouldn't, but 3 worker kills is not bad at all. Going back into the main, going for another worker, and we'll get one. 4 probe kills. Behind this, of course, it's got the tech. Twilight Council is a part of the wall, so it is aware of the blink. Meanwhile, across the map, CC is going to be delayed. Not bad. SCV goes down. Command center is delayed, and we have the answer here to what was made first. Tech lab into not Cyclone. Tech lab into very fast tank production. Early tank has arrived. As a result, charge, the blink is cancelled. Nice call. So okay, first things first. One, a tank this early on is not normal. It's not normal to have a tank this early on. So really fast tank production out of GuMiho, very aggressive, is going for the tank drop. Meanwhile, as soon as he saw the tank, cancels blink, goes into charge. Charge is more efficient here, is made very middle base of course, but is designed to shut down all ins. There's a recall back home. Tank drop towards the pylon. Going into the main. Oh my god. Where are we going? What's the plan? GuMiho, calm down. Getting a little bit too frisky here. GuMiho, he will lose the medevac. Yeah, medevac is hunted down. Brutal pickoff. GuMiho rallying all the way to the main. That was just ambitious. And he should lose this tank. Behind this, charges on the way. Gateways as well. GuMiho trying to catch the stalkers. Does save the tank at least. At least he hopes to. Yeah. Does siege on the high ground. Forces back classic. GuMiho already up to 3 tanks. Again, this tank count is just really large and really early. Really fast this early on. Behind this, rushing into stim. Into Marauder production as well. Interesting. And this may lead into a 2-base all-in. I mean, it's really tech heavy. I mean, you can already see a 4th tank already. Jesus. 4th tank is on the way. But as a reminder, what shuts down tank pushes? Charge. Right, charge is already complete. Charge is ready here for classic. And we're waiting for the move out. And speaking of, yep, here comes the Unsiege. We pull the boys. 2-base all in. 2-base all in out of GuMiho. 4 tanks. Again, the tank count is just really early, really fast, really large this early on. Again, just going for tank production from the beginning. Stim is going to be done in time for the push, and it's all or nothing with GuMiho. But again, charge is already complete, and we're going for the tanks. Charge, I'll say, just mow through those Marines real fast. There's no stim. Stim in 10 seconds. And you can see GuMiho's army just melts. It just melts here. It evaporates. Down to 2 tanks. A nice control, nice drop play, not bad. GuMiho, oh my god. The micro is there. GuMiho punishes the stalkers. But GuMiho, he lost so much already. Looking at the trades here, GuMiho, he lost 16 Marines. He lost 2 tanks, a Marauder. And remember, he was all in, he lost 12 SCVs. There's no turning back from this. Like, he's got to keep going. He pulls back the boys. The all-in has failed. And that was the power of charge, right? That's why Classic got charged so quickly, because it trades so well against bio-tank compositions this early on. Oh my god, feedbacks, they pop up. And Classic, he's miles ahead at this point. Classic, he's getting a 3rd base. He's taking up into Storm, into Blink, into Forger +1. GuMiho, he pulls the boys for a 2nd time. He has to. Like, there's no macroing out of this for GuMiho. He has to commit. But there's barely anything left. There's how many Marines? 18. 18 Marines remaining. Now, this time he will have Stim. This time Stim is done. GuMiho pushes forward. But he's forced to siege. There's a scan. Takes down the observer. Storm is already complete. Jesus. Oh my god. First storm on the tanks. 2nd storm on some of the bio. And another, yeah, the tank's gonna go down. They're the first things to fall. GG gets called, and Classic takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, when you're playing against GuMiho in this matchup, scouting is paramount. And for Classic to scout and to confirm that early tank, that was everything. That was almost game then and there. When he saw the early tank, bam, canceled blink, started charge, threw down gateways, and he was ready. He was ready for the all-in. The all-in eventually arrived, but Classic, he was so on top of that, able to engage ahead of time, engage in the center of the map before Stim finished. He caught the tanks unsieged, and Classic, he shut down the all-in as soon as it started. With that, GG. GG, well played. Now getting into game number 2, and we'll see what GuMiho has in store for us next time. Now, what I love about GuMiho's TVP is that he will have a different build every game, 100%. He will have a different build, even though he did go for an all-in here. This was a different variation of what he did against Maru. Very different. So, different build still out of GuMiho, and we'll see how we adjust coming into game 2. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom, on the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Virtus Pro. It is a Classic. Again, GuMiho, he had some very impressive micro and control, and even though the initial charge timing or the initial engage should have gone more heavily in favor of Classic, GuMiho actually held his own and was able to preserve some army and have a follow-up, but the problem was he was just so far behind regardless. Again, it all came down to the scouting of Classic, and we'll see if GuMiho once again goes double gas. I feel like a lot of this series is going to come down to what GuMiho does and whether or not Classic is aware. I feel like that's what it comes down to. Meanwhile, once again, double gas. I expect this every game in this series. So double gas opener out of GuMiho once again. Last game, this led into early tank production, into a 2-base all-in. This doesn't have to be the same build though. As we mentioned, this could be into Cloak Banshee. This could lead into a double Cyclone or into Cyclone production. This could lead into a committed mine drop. This can lead a couple different ways. Or early tank drop into tank based all-in, which is what we saw last game. So GuMiho, he has options. Once again, it's going to be on Classic to determine what exactly is going on. Does dip in with the probe. And this time the wall is open. This time the wall is open, and Classic, yep, he scouts the factory, he knows. So he's now aware that once again it's going to be a tech-heavy start for GuMiho. And it's going to be on Classic to play it safe. Now, I do not expect GuMiho to do the same build 2 games in a row. No shot. I don't expect the same build again in this series. So I would say it is safer for Classic to open up Blink Stalker. I do think it's safer here. If he wanted to be incredibly safe, he could go for a Robo opener. I don't think that's necessary, but he could go for that as well. That's also viable. I would not want to see a Stargate. No shot. Don't pull a Maru. As Classic dips in, there we go. Tech of choice, Twilight Council out of Classic. Meanwhile, early tank lab. Uh-oh. Now we saw last game this led into an early tank. This time we could see an early Cyclone instead. There it is. Early Cyclone out of GuMiho into the starport. Now, this can lead into a second Cyclone, or it could be a Cyclone opener into a delayed tank to hide it. Where the Cyclone denies the Adept Scouts, and then you hide the tank, you preserve it, then you go for like a bit of a later tank all-in. Or tank drop. Otherwise, this could be an add-on swap. This could just be a second Cyclone after this, just to be safe. Okay, so single Cyclone into add-on swap, which means no tank. No tank from GuMiho. From here, do we go into Cloak Banshee? Yep, there we go. Cloak Banshee's on the way. As we mentioned at the start of the game, this is one of the possibilities here when it comes to double gas openers, is Cloak Banshee. Of course, Classic knows this. He knows that this is a possibility, but again, has no confirmation yet. For all he knows, it could be Cyclone into tanks again. So Hallucination moves out to scouts. GuMiho with the interception. Nicely done. Does intercept. And he will deny the scout. The hallucination. Oh no! He gets through. The scout does get through. GuMiho, you can see the Marines, they rally over. He wants to intercept as best he can, but I don't think he can. And there we go. The hallucination comes in. He sees everything. Classic, he gets eyes on the hallucination. Sorry, on the cloak, on the research. He knows. Classic, he's now aware. Again, that shouldn't have happened. The Cyclone had one job. And he almost pulled it off. Almost. So behind this, you can see Classic splitting up his stalkers, getting in position. Robo's on the way for the observer. Meanwhile, GuMiho, he's actually moving out. So he went for a delayed tank after this. Now, remember, the tech lab was spotted. And you can see Classic intercepting. Catching out a Marine. Catching out the Cyclone. Very nice. Ooh, as the Cyclone does fall. Massive pickoff. The rest of the army has arrived. Oh my, oh, bit of awkward control there from Classic. Banshee into the main. Cloak was finished. Was researched. Where's the detection? Observer still on the way. This one Banshee getting 5 probe kills. At the same time, GuMiho trying to catch out the stalkers. There we go. Observer has arrived. 6 probes for the Banshee. A very messy defense here from Classic, but he does hold. He does defend. More Banshees are on the way. So we got second Banshee on the right hand side. GuMiho falling back. Behind this, 2 more Maxes. He's building up into the mid game. So GuMiho, he has lost map control, but my concern here is that Classic, he moves out with all his stalkers. Does he have anything at home to defend? Remember, there's still a Banshee. There's a shield battery in the main. There's an observer in soon to be both mineral lines. Stalkers, oh, they poke in. Classic gets punished. Goes to the time. Oh, this is dangerous here. Does lose a lot of stalkers in the process. Gets a tank, but bleeds out a lot here. Stalkers are going down. A Banshee into the main. Alas, stalkers are keeping up. And Classic, he will defend. As another Banshee's moving out. Ooh. 1 Banshee left. Heading into the bases. Behind this, 3rd base on the way for Classic, getting into charge. He let out 6 stalkers earlier. And these Banshees are just being so annoying. It's not bad. And Classic has to race back home again. Behind this, 3rd CC's on the way. GuMiho building up towards a longer and later game. Not going for an all-in this time. As the aggression subsides, where exactly are we and what are we looking like? I mean, GuMiho did lose a lot of high-tech units. We see that he lost 2 tanks, 2 Banshees. He did trade against Stalkers at least, and at least he got 8 probe kills. He's in a decent position here. I would say that Classic does have a lead, does have map control, and should have an economic advantage. But GuMiho's not out of this. From here, Classic, he should be able to delay the 3rd and get a 4th base. The problem, though, is that Classic doesn't know if he's expanding. Remember, he's playing against GuMiho. For all he knows, it could be another 2-base all-in. Like, Classic, he has not seen the command center. So Classic has to play it safe. Oh. Gets a Marine. Gets 1, gets 2. Gets 3. You see GuMiho trying to micro those Marines, trying to pick them up one at a time, but alas, 1 second too late. Marines do go down. Classic falling back. Storm is complete. Uh-oh. He's got 2-eye Templar in the Prism. Looking for those juicy connections. There she's revealed. GuMiho breaks out. As he breaks out, he's expanding. Dusk in the main army. GuMiho rotates over. Let's rotate. Tanks are sieged. With those rocks being knocked down, it's going to be difficult for Classic to try to overwhelm. But the Prism does get over. He's ready for the surround. There's a scan. GuMiho sees the army. There's a siege. Ooh, does hard down the High Templar. He gets 1. Just the 1, though. Yeah, Classic will clean up. GuMiho picks up, heading into the main. Recall is available. Oh my god. Swords are popping up. And more storms as oh Jesus, more storms as well. Decent snipe there from GuMiho, does take down the High Templar at least, but he will lose everything here. At least he should. Nice stim though, nice control. Takes out the Stalkers, going for +1. Oh good, but another storm. Cleans up the army, takes down the drops. And suddenly this wasn't as worth it. Now at least GuMiho did trade with the High Templar. Checking the units tab here, only 2 High Templar remaining. So the High Templar count is quite low. Only 2 Templar. But Classic does catch out the army. Collapsing on the Marines. Nice kiting here by GuMiho, but here come the storms. There's the first. There should be another coming in. Yeah, and Classic, he'll just overwhelm. He'll overwhelm the army. GG gets called. GuMiho losing far too much, far too quickly. And Classic will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Again, GuMiho, he had potential with his move out, but he got surrounded. He got caught unsieged. I'm referring to the moment outside of the would-be 4th base, where he lost all 3 of his tanks. He dropped into the main base, but again, Classic was all over the drop as well. And GuMiho, he had nothing left. It was already a rough start for GuMiho after kind of the failed tank aggression and Banshee aggression. We did mention that he wasn't too far behind, but then he was hyper aggressive and he got caught out, right? He lost everything. He wasn't able to stabilize on 3 bases. GG. GG will play. The Classic does take the series, and a Classic, he will be the first to advance on into the round of 4. GG. GG, congratulations. Classic does make it out in 1st place. Not bad at all. Did fumble, did drop a map to Reynor earlier to the mass muta, but remember that was just due to scouting. Here, he was on top of his scouting. He was on top of GuMiho time and time again. Shout out to Classic for the hallucination. If you recall, this could have been a different game if GuMiho denied that hallucination scout. Remember, the hallucination got across the map. It was able to bypass the cyclone, just barely broke the lock on, and got an eye on the double tech lab follow-up. He saw the researching cloak, he saw the tech lab on the factory, and he was able to be proactive, shut down the Banshees, and shut down the main tank push as well. He still lost 8 probes to the Banshees, which was still nice, but remember, it was 3 Banshees. Like, that was a big commitment from GuMiho, and it was still not enough. Still not quite. GG. With that, Classic does make it through, and we have our next match ready for us. This is going to be the elimination match. Up next, Reynor versus Maru. Let's go. Let us go. And this is what I'm excited for. If you remember, we were discussing this last week, actually, after we casted the initial Maru matches in the previous group stage. We spoke about how Maru's games were not what I was looking for in the qualifiers and in the group stage against Trigger and against Rogue as well. If you're watching the channel, or if you're watching GSL, you would know that Maru, he all in every single game. It was non-stop 2 base all-ins against Trigger, and non-stop 3 base all-ins against Rogue, non-stop 8 racks. It's it was hyper aggression out of Maru. Same with the qualifiers also very similar as well, just non-stop all-ins, non-stop aggression. I wanted some mid-game, I wanted some late game. We never got it in the previous rounds in GSL. I want some here. That's all I want. That's all I want out of the ZVT, but we'll see. Meanwhile, a big shout out to QXBB. Thank you so much, Gab. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the content. Hope you enjoy the StarCraft. We do what we can. We bring you as much content as we can. Thank you. Yes, I'm hoping that we can get some back and forth mid-game and even late game between Maru and Reynor, or just Maru in general. That's what I'm looking for. The reason why I'm looking for this is because for those of you that were here last week and even last night as well, we spoke on this. Maru has been on a hiatus. Maru, he has been taking a break from StarCraft. He took the off-season in a big way and just didn't play, right? Which is also why he looked a little bit shaky against Lancer. It's why he looked shaky against Dark, referring to Master Colosseum, referring to the Pigsty Festival as well. Again, Maru, he was not in form because he wasn't playing the game. Maru, he only recently returned. This is also after it was announced that Maru, he was discharged from the military. He has since completed that service, or at least it counts as he has completed the service. For those that don't know, Maru, he did sign up and register to go to military for the past 3 years, and for the past 3 years the administration didn't call upon him. They have limited spots available, and they always they draft them in from whoever registers, and Maru, he was ready to go to the military for 3 years in a row, but it was last month in April, I think, where it was announced that they didn't call upon him again for 3 years, and that means that he has it counts as Maru finishing his military, like legally, by law, because he was there for 3 years in a row, and because they never called upon him. Wasn't because of Maru, it was because of the administration. Like they just never did. So he is done with the military, and we assume that because of that, that's another reason why Maru wasn't practicing StarCraft, because he probably assumed he would be called upon and he would do a service, but he didn't. In the end, he wasn't called upon. So now he's here, now he's back, now he's ready to devote and commit into StarCraft, and we'll see how he does against Reynor in our TVZ. Let's go. We're jumping into game one. We're jumping into Incorporeal. How is Maru's shoulder? It's still injured. He still has issues with it. From my understanding, that's why Maru canceled his trip to Star Zagora. He was going to Star Zagora, but specifically long travel and travel in general just doesn't really it doesn't really bode him well. It's not something that he can necessarily sustain because of his shoulder injury. So because of that, that's the reasoning why Maru canceled his invitation to Star Zagora. But he is going to Dallas, is going to DreamHack Dallas. Just not going to be traveling as consistently and as consecutively. But here we go, we're getting into our next game, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Incorporeal, we have the Italian Zerg player. We have the red Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, not Ro8, is playing Terran against Zerg. Representing Team Vitality, it is Maru. Let us go. So we are jumping into our TVZ now. As a reminder, I was alluding to this previously, so I'll reiterate again. We did cast Maru last week against Rogue in the previous round of GSL, and Maru, he 8-racks the hell out of Rogue. It was sorry, not Rogue, my apologies. I'm thinking of, wait, was it? No. Yeah, it was. Sorry, it was. Yeah, Maru, he did 8-racks the hell out of Rogue. Rogue, he was not able to really embrace a longer game state against Maru. And Maru, he was able to end those games real fast and real quick, which is why I mentioned that I was left wanting. I was left a little bit unsatisfied. I wanted to see some more out of Maru outside of just purely all-ins, and we'll see if we can get that here between his series against Reynor. Now, what I will say is that Reynor is also a very aggressive player. He's very aggressive, very active. He's more active and aggressive than Cyril, I would say, which is what leads to a lot of fun games and fun series. This is also why I actually favor Reynor over Reynor against Clem more than Cyril. Not saying that I favor him, but more so than Cyril, just because of his play style. It's always so much fun, and we've seen Reynor defeat Clem time and time again because of these more chaotic game states. Base trades, Lingbane Muta as well, bringing that back and being just hyper aggressive, hyper in the face of Clem is just a very different dynamic, very different. Meanwhile, usually Maru, he's kind of like Cyril. He's a little bit more Cyril-esque, even though I did say he has been going for all-ins recently, that is true, but historically, Maru has been more of a turtle player, where he's more defensive, more turtly. He's one to build up and throw down planetaries and look to max out and have a slower kind of game state. That's traditionally how Maru has played out ZVT. Now, what I will say, coming into the new map pool, this style that I'm referring to, this more turtle-heavy style, this more defensive style as we do go 3CC before Starport, is weaker this season. The reason for this, the map pool. The maps, honestly, they play a big part in certain matchups when it comes to how they play out, 100%, especially in the last map pool as well, because so many maps are so defensive. I'm referring to Abyssal Reef, I'm referring to Neon Violet Square, King's Cove. Like, there were so many like defensive and turtly maps. Here, less so. Incorporeal, for example, is a map that's large, that is true, but also a map that has a lot of attack paths. There are a lot of attack paths here into the third, into the fourth, in between the bases more importantly. I would say that this map is maybe a little bit more Terran friendly for one reason, and that is this Zelnaga Tower, or I should say the terrain. usually this area is more open, but specifically this area here is quite difficult for Zerg players to engage into because Terran have so much terrain that kind of blocks off their opponent to deny any kind of surround. It's difficult to engage a Terran player specifically kind of in this area, in this region. In the center of the map, it's not as open. So we'll see. We'll see how Maru does approach this. Behind this, 3cc into Cloak Banshee. Standard play out of Maru. Economic play. Meanwhile, Reynor just droning. Just droning, just saturating. In general, though, I actually haven't casted much ZVT in this map pool just because ZVT is quite rare. I'm sure you know this, but when it comes to tournaments in StarCraft right now, it's very Protoss heavy. It's very Protoss heavy, and because of that, we often see a lot of PvP, PvZ, and PvT. Like, the Protoss matchups are very common and much more televised as a result. TvZ is more of a rarity, 100%. So always happy whenever we see it, always. But because I just have less experience covering some of these maps in this matchup specifically. Same with ZVZ as well. As Overlord's being hunted down, Maru claiming his third. Interesting, taking the triangular third base. Expanding towards the expansions of Reynor. So already being more assertive. Hellions poking in. Right now, the goal for Maru is to deny as much creep as he can. As he pokes in, but so far is being denied. Banshee to the main. Gets 2 drones. Takes down 2, takes down 3. Oh, just barely 2. So a nice start here for Maru, but ideally he does want more. But now pulls away with the Banshee. Second Banshee has arrived. And Reynor, he is keeping up with the Hellions. He's spreading creep. He's doing quite well for himself. The creep is looking solid. Not just connecting the bases, but also has a presence out on the map. And Maru having a hard time dealing with this. Takes down 1 tumor. And we spoke about this actually at the beginning of the game. We spoke about how we do love how Reynor, he's one that's more active, more aggressive against Clem, and how we often even see Lingbane Muta. There it is, Lingbane Muta. Let's go. The Spire is on the way. This is a rare sight. Players like Solar, players like several players like Dark before he retired, they never play Muta. Like, this is a rare sight in the current meta. This used to be, of course, very standard back in Heart of the Swarm and even early Legacy, but has fallen by the wayside. Muta play, the reason for this is it's very micro-intensive and very difficult just because it's so fragile. It's such a glass cannon kind of army, and on top of that, you're also vulnerable. Mutas are not built to defend, especially early on. They're designed to harass, designed to get across the map. If Maru were to be more assertive, then Reynor could just topple over and die. Bearing in mind that Reynor, he's delaying his upgrades in favor of Mutas. So he currently has 0-0, and he is going to be falling behind in the melee upgrades, or the ground upgrades, as a result. 7 Mutas are on the way. Behind this, do you see what I see? 5 racks is done. We're 8 racksing. We spoke about this, but we are getting up to 8 racks, but that's a 4th CC. Maru, he's expanding. Okay, I was gonna say that we saw nothing but 8 racks out of Maru against Rogue, but here he is expanding, and he's taking a gas as well. Maru is still being very bio heavy. That is true. It's still quite intense. But so far, he's being relatively passive. He's denying creep, but here come the Mutas. No punish. Reynor, he goes by unscouted. Maru here never went for a dive. He's just focusing on creep denial. And Mutas are making their way into the main. And as we get into the main base, a big shout to Sian in the chat. Obrigado. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great cast. Hope you had a great time over on your own channel. Obrigado, papi, obrigado. Fala, galera. As Mutas, they bust into the main. 7 SCV kills. I say 7, getting up to 9, getting up to 10, and even more. And again, the Mutas, they completely unscouted. Maru, the pants are down. Papi, the pants are down. 13 SCVs. And what's difficult as well is that Maru, how often does he practice against Muta play? Again, like, I mean, ZVT is a rare thing to begin with, And on top of that, I was mentioning the Korean Zerg players earlier, but Rogue, Solar, Shin, they don't play Muta. That doesn't happen. Like, at this level of play, Reynor, he's the only one that really does this on a consistent basis. The drop is cleaned up. Maru, he breaks out, expanding towards his opponent once again, taking the 4th base. Oh. It's Reynor, he gets spotted. Gets spotted by the Banshee. They spot each other. Maru behind is still making 10 Marines at a time. Again, because he does have an A-Rack setup, he is making pure Marine tank. He's not being as aggressive as you usually would be with this army because of the mutas. Like, he has to be more defensive with this. Ideally, though, Maru does want to switch out of tank into Widowmine. Like, Biomine is going to be superior here just because of the muta count. More so than tank. Hive is on the way. This can lead into Ultra Tech. Or just Spellcasters. Mutas, they coming from behind. They get a tank. Not bad. Nice control here from Reynor. Picks up a tank. Builds up his Ling Bane. Rocks are knocked down. So there are a lot of rocks. Maru just ensuring that he doesn't get surrounded. Just forcing a frontal assault instead. Can't quite push in. Oh. Quite able to push forward. Ling Rambai is attempted. Maru's in position. Oh, Bailey's running into a tank. Not ideal. Likewise, Maru, he does deter those mutas. Not bad. Instead, Reynor committing here to the run by. Takes down some reinforcing Marines, going for the tanks as well. Does break through. Takes down the tanks, takes down the bio. At the same time, Maru pushing onto creep, but there's plenty of Ling Bane. Maru has to pull away, but he clears up a lot of creep. The creep is receding. Hive is now done. Where's the tech? Where are the upgrades? From here, Vipers would be ideal. Maybe some Infestors. Adrenals on the way. Especially because there are no Widowmines. It's purely Marine tank. Vipers, they'd be beautiful. Now the run-bys continue. The creep is still receding. Being pushed further back. Ooh, Lings, they get denied. Maru, he's ready for this. He does turn back around. And Reynor, he tries to slip into the middle alliance. He breaks through the front door. And busting into the natural, takes down a tank. Mutas, they come in as well once again. Focusing down those medevacs. Catching reinforcements. Maru, he's a little bit indecisive here. Does he push? Does he not? Does he come back home? Once again, SCVs are going down. Nice run by with the mutas. They find damage. Oh. Hitting the 3rd base as well. Ooh. More mutas going to be going down. 14 SCV kills though. 14 SCVs. Likewise, Reynor's keeping it with the drops. He's barely saving the expansion. Barely. And Maru's pushing. Now, on the one hand, that was really nice economic damage. That's true, but Maru has a massive army. And this time he's got some Widowmines. Doors are on the way as well. Maru breaking out. And Maru, he can still take this game. He's at least going for the base. Knocking down 2 expansions. Maru rotating over. Does rotate. Reynor catching out a tank. That's got a tank rotating back into the main. At the same time, Maru, he just ignores the mutas. He wants another expansion. And can he close off and knock down to bottom left? Oh, it looks like he can. Reynor, he just cannot engage. This expansion, it's going to go down. Reynor going for the mineral line. The repairs are too good. Oh my god, the repairs are crazy. The base goes down. The mutas, they do not get the expansion. They do not get the mineral line, but Lings, they do slip in regardless. Lings, they're making up for the lack of damage from the mutas. Mutas, they eventually give up on the turrets. Eventually. As Reynor is trying to break in. Oh, borrowed mines are denied. Reynor, he is still getting a lot of damage though. That's going to be 23 SCV kills. He borrows Link to the natural. But Maru still has a massive army. What does he have? He's got 14 medevacs. That's a lot of medevacs. 51 marines. He's got 1 Thor. He's got 5 winter mines. Again, Maru, he's maxed out. And Maru is pushing. Now Reynor, he's triply expanding, trying to get some bases up and running. Oh, ultras have arrived. Nice mine connection. Mine shots are popping up. Another mine shot here in the ultras. But there are still a couple of marauders mixed in. No ghosts, but still good enough. Yeah, the 3-2 bio army shuts down the first ultra. Now breaking out, no ghosts. Without ghosts, the longer this goes on, the better it may be here for Reynor. As he's still losing bases though. Losing expansion after expansion. As another base goes down. Oh my god. Do you see my connection? Maru still maintains the high ground. We got more CCs on the way. And Reynor, he just can't expand. He does have a bank. True. 4,000 minerals in the bank. Alright, because ultras are trying to collapse in. Maru, he kites back. Oh! Another mine shot goes up. You know, ultras, they go for the run by, they go for the planetary, and it looks like the planetary should go down. Not bad. Reynor, he takes down an entire mineral line. The ultra run by gets 17 SCVs. Both players are hurting, but Reynor, he does retake bottom left. He's back up to 5 bases. He's still double expanding. He's got the money for it. So we're running out of bases. Running out of expansions. So another run by does move in. Once again distracting Maru. Catching out SCVs. And Reynor, can he break the high ground? The melee's up! He does roll in. And he subs for the base. The planetary is gonna fall. Not bad. Takes down the planetary, catching out the bio. And remember, Reynor, he can afford this. He can afford these trades. Planetary's not yet done. More CCs forced to lift. Now, Maru's still in this game, but he's all in. Like, Maru, like, the army that he has, that's all he has. And he has so many medevacs. Wait, what? He's up to 16. 16 medevacs. Ay. But Maru still has a massive army to work with. He can still end the game in one push, but that's the only way he can end the game. Is with that one breakout moment. He rotates around. Oh. He'll be kiting back. Takes down the expansion. Another Ling Ultra run by. Planetary is done. Oh. The Greater getting in position. Bailey's, oh my god, he do crash into the mineral line. Barely sniping that planetary. Heading towards the center base. And again, Reynor, he's denying the mining, he's denying the expansions. But is this good enough? Oh. As there is still no ghost, by the way, against this many ultras. Who needs ghosts back? Someone link Maru the ghost copy pasta. He's playing TVZ on hard mode. No, I don't need ghosts. I just need man with gun. True. As he's down to 35 SCVs. Again, barely an economy. But he doesn't need an economy, he's not losing army. True. Oh, that's a kill. Hold on, a cancel. Oh, no kiting. Yeah, Maru inattentive. Does lose a massive chunk of his army. Tank goes down as well. Maru slipping up. He loses a lot of supply. Yeah, speaking of, once again, oh, does take some swipes to the face. Late reactions out of Maru. Yeah, Lings, they take down more bases, more expansions going down. Reynor, he's done it. Whew. There was definitely opportunities here for Maru, and I was concerned, but too many mistakes too quickly here. Losing 2 bases. Losing massive parts of his main army. And Reynor just chilling, just remaxing. And who needs anti-air? Who needs to kill these medevacs? Just say we could have had like 1 or 2 Vipers throwing down some power bombs every now and then. I guess it's fine. We got some corruptors. And here we go. Reynor collapsing in. Ooh. Mine just going up on the ultras. As there's 1 liberator left here on the high ground. Sorry, 2 liberators. They're going to be focused down. Ultras, they just run past. Oh, massive fungal! Let's go! The flanking fungal comes in! And Reynor, he finally finds that fight. He shuts down the main army, breaks through. GG gets called, and Reynor, he will take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, very successful Ling Bane play there out of Reynor to be able to pull Maru apart. Again, it went unscattered, very similar to game 1 against Classic actually, where Reynor, he went mutas, he got unscattered, and Reynor, he was able to pop off. He just crippled the economy of Maru then and there. He dealt so much damage. Maru, he was able to somewhat stabilize and max out, that is true, but he never built up a bank. He never had the opportunity to, because he was losing base after base, mineral line after mineral line, losing so much of that economy, and GG. In the end, he just starved out. He starved out. He just could not maintain himself, could not maintain those losses, and with that, Reynor takes a lead. Let's go. And again, as I mentioned before, I should emphasize that once again, the fact that not many players at this level do play muta. So Reynor, he was quite successful just catching Maru with his pants down. Maru, he was not ready whatsoever for the initial mutas, and Reynor did well. He did well for himself. Did it very well for himself. GG. With that, we're getting into game number 2. Going to be loading into ley lines. And here we go. Spawning in the top right hand corner of ley lines, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Vitality down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. We'll see if he can recover. It is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Italian Zerg player. Oh. The Red Zerg, representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Reynor. Sorry, just setting up the title. Setting up the title on YouTube. We're good to go. Oh my god, me what, pool first? Okay, Reynor mixing it up here, does open up pool first instead. No shot, we're going gasless. Pool hatch. We'll see when the gases are taken. This is risky here. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but if we are going to be playing gasless, I'm referring to pool hatch. This is typically reserved for safer maps. Okay, there we go. So it's going to be late gas but not gasless. Okay, so pool hatch into gas here from Reynor. It does mean that link speed is going to be delayed, but it'll be on the horizon. 6 links are in production. The goal here is to disrupt the build of Maru. Maru going for the low ground setup though. Very safe. Maru, he's going to be ready for this. This is a special build, by the way. Racks into factory. Now, the benefit of this build and of this style from Maru is that he has a wall real fast and real quick. And it means that these links that are designed to delay the expansion, I'm not so sure they'll be able to. We'll see. As the SV's in position. Yep, there we go. The factory's on the way. So we have a full wall. We have a full wall here at the natural. I spoke too soon. The wall lifts. Yeah, the Overlord does bait out the Marines, baits out the racks. Overlord is going to go down, but the wall is open. The Lings, they come in for the surrounded. Oh no! Oh, they almost catch him. Nice movement there from Maru. He still will lose the Marines as they take a lot of hits, a lot of damage. Boys are being pulled. Oh my god, the Marines get away. No shot, they barely get away. Very nice control there by Maru, and with that Maru, he holds, he defends, and now this opener from Reynor is not as worth it. Now, because gases are so late, we're skipping link speed and we're going straight into Ro8 production. Now, I do like this follow-up out of Reynor. There are a couple different things about what's happening here. One, because of the low ground setup, as you can see, pool first, Lings, they do nothing. They do nothing, they do not delay the expansion. But the downside of this style is the production. The production is on the low ground. The production is exposed. Usually the production is in the main, and a Ro8 push can deny mining at the natural, and it can force the player on one base a little bit longer, but then they just defend and then they break out from their one base eventually and re-expand. Here, if the natural gets broken, the production also gets broken as well. Like, there's just so much value here at the natural that this early Ro8 push can end the game. It can straight up end the game. Where them lurkers to kill the army. The build for Reynor was Lingbane Muta. Because that he was heavily invested into melee upgrades, that's why the natural transition out of Lingbane Muta is to go into ultras to actually take advantage and to benefit from the melee upgrades as well. That's why when you open up Lingbane Muta, you don't often switch into lurkers, just because you have no range upgrades, right? So no upgrades for the lunkers. From here, do you see Reynor pushing forward? He does get a couple of SCV kills. The bunker, the depot is under fire, and the depot will go down. But again, he needs to get on top of that factory, on top of that tech lab. Cyclone does arrive. Maru, he's holding on. He's holding, does force back Reynor. Does force him back. Reynor, he's threatening, but behind this is not all in. He's droning up, so it looks like Reynor, he won't be able to break the natural, he won't be able to disrupt the production. He's trying to, but Maru holds. So a stronger defense here by Maru, and this is now a rough position for Reynor. Remember, Reynor, he delayed his third. This third is so late. Delayed third, delayed droning, delayed economy in favor of these roaches, and it wasn't worth it. As the roach goes down, catching out 2 roaches. As from here, Ravager gets targeted. Nice control here from Maru. Oh my, just punishing every single Ravager. Ay, ay, ay. Ravagers go down, roaches as well. Reynor losing everything. A really rough start for Reynor. He's trying to drone up, trying to saturate. He's being greedy. He has to be. He gets punished for it. A drone gets picked up. And Reynor is hurting. Reynor, he's hurting. This build, this opener from Reynor was not worth it. Late link speed, late drones, late third, late everything. As another drone goes down. And Maru behind this is chilling. Behind this is getting to stim, getting to his 1-1-1. So his 2-1-1 setup. CC is on the way. Maru, he's settling in. What else? Korean? Annyeong haseyo, papi. 감사합니다. 아, they're like 5 phrases in Korean. That's all I got. Now the Banshee has arrived, and the spores are a little bit late, so 4 more drones go down. Nice damage here from Maru. Very nice. So Maru does pull away. Does pull away. Would you see Reynor trying to catch up, going to double upgrades into 1-1, a Lair follow up here into eventually Ling Bane. But Reynor has some catching up to do. And Maru's expanding. Maru from here just expands. Able to saturate. Able to build up. Now, because of the lead that Maru has, I wouldn't even be opposed to A-Raxing from here. Like, we saw an A-Rax setup last game, but no committed, like, 3-base A-Rax all in. Here, it would be quite fitting. We'll keep an eye on him. For now, he's on 5. On 5 Raxes. We are waiting to see if Maru takes the gases at the 3rd, and waiting to see if whether or not he does throw down an extra factory, a 4cc. Maru sims in. He does sim in, he trades well, force to pick up. Plus transfuse that a Reynor, does at least maintain those queens. As manages to hit the natural once again. Getting another 2 workers. Oh, nice punish. Reynor catching out a Banshee. Does take down one of the Banshees, and yep, there it is. 3 Vaxes. We have 3 Vaxes on the way here, so we do have an A-Rax set up at Maru. This is going to be pure marine tank. Now, there is 1 gas on the way. Now, this gas geyser may just be to mix in a couple of Marauders, but typically we wouldn't take the gas. So the gas is a sign of potentially further tech out of Maru. Otherwise, he's still committing. No 4th CC, not yet. So it looks like a 3-base all-in out of Maru. As we mentioned, because Maru has a lead, this is a really good way to capitalize on that lead, but there it is, 4th CC. Never mind, he expands. This is the same setup, and again, the gas was indicative of it. This is the same setup that Maru had in game 1. Same build, same setup. A-Raxes with an extra gas into a 4th command center. So this is less aggressive out of Maru. As Maru does sim forward. Takes down the gas. Collapsing on the queens, they're running out of transfuse. Ooh. So the queen goes down. One mainly does connect towards the end. At least there's still some brutal trades. Some brutal tank shots. Double drop into the natural. And Maru here unloads. So far though, Reynor, he's keeping up. He's holding on. Oh god, I spoke too soon. 6 more drones going to be going down, and you can see the disparity here in the supplies. I mean, this is an instance where the supply isn't quite lying. Reynor has just had a really rough start to the game. The initial pull first and Ro8 follow-up was not worth it. It was just not worth it, and Reynor's been behind from that opener. Cleans up the tanks though. Cleans up the tanks. Oh, the target firing on Maru does focus out every single Baneling. Banelings have a hard time trading. GG gets called. Maru here overwhelms, and Maru ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG will play. Just a really rough start from Reynor. It was almost a hard counter from Maru, blindly so. If you remember, Reynor, he went for a pull first opener, and Maru went for the low ground racks, and that meant that the first set of Lings didn't do anything. Likewise, the follow-up Ro8 push I thought was going to be an all-in, which I favored from Reynor, but he droned up instead. He droned up behind it. He did not commit to an all-in. So the Roaches, they poked out, they killed the depot, but that's all they got. There was a cyclone to respond, and Maru, he cleaned up every single roach, every single ravager. It was not worth it for Reynor. Remember, Reynor, he delayed his third base and he delayed his economy for that early roach push, and it wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it. GG will play it from there. He was behind, he tried to recover, and he was not quite able to. And with that, Maru fights back, and now we're going to the ace match. Let's go. We're going to game 3. Game 3 is going to be on Tokamak. Now, is Maru going to do something other than 8 racks? Because he's done that every game so far. He is, I should say, to be fair, he has gone 8 racks into an extra gas, into a 4th CC, but it has been the same build every game, 2 games in a row. Does he go for the 3, the hat trick? Let's find out. As spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Tokamak, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Team Vitality. It is Maru. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player from the land of Italy, representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. We go. As this time Reynor does not go pool first. Thank God. This time we have a much more standard opener out of Reynor. I spoke too... God damn it, I spoke too soon. Gas first. It's going to be gas first, so gas pool into a delayed hatchery. Reynor, he's doubling down. Now, with this build, it could be one of two things. Either rush into link speed for an early link flood, or rush into early roaches for an earlier roach push. One or the other, but this gas is going to be spent in some way. We'll see how it's going to be spent. Meanwhile, Maru, high ground setup this time. So the high ground racks into a low ground CC. This time his natural is going to be more vulnerable. This time the natural is more exposed. More so than last game. So once again, a different build out of Reynor. He has done something different every game so far in the series. And Reynor, he has the 100 gas. Waiting for the minerals. There it is, link speed is on the way, and he doesn't pull out. Uh-oh. He stays in gas, so this is either a Bane bust or a Roach rush. What's it gonna be? I'm leaning towards Banes at this point. We'll see what we go for as links are moving out. Reynor, he has 50 gas. Show us the nest. Fading out those lings. I mean, technically, this could even be for a fast lair, I suppose. For like drop a lord play, which would be crazy. So we could see Baneliness, Roach Warren, or fast lair. We got 3 options. Show us what you got. Ooh, as the Reaper does poke in. Does see gas mining. Behind this 3rd CC for Starport, very greedy build here, very economic from Maru. And it's going to be for the fast lair. Okay. So no banelings, no roaches. We're going for what looks to be a Link Queen Nidus all in, I would imagine. Reaper Scout is denied. You can see Maru is checking, no 3rd base. There is no expansion. Reaper does get away. And drop a lords. Okay, so it's going to be a German taxi, or really what I should say, not a German taxi, it's going to be the Italian Vespa, papi. Let's go, as we do have drop a lords amassing. Going to be Ling Queen drop a lord all in from Reynor. Let's go. As he's looking to move out. Meanwhile, remember, Maru did open up a 3cc 2-on-1. Reaper gets surrounded. Now, what does this mean? This means there are going to be less Hellions, more Marines, and a stim timing. But I believe stim is going to hit too late. I believe Reynor can hit before stim. There's the add-on swap. Now, Maru does make 4 safety Hellions. Aha. The Vespers, they're gearing up. Things are moving out. Here comes the drop. And here comes the all-in. And remember, Maru, he sees nothing. Now, he does know that there's no expansion, so he should be aware that something is wrong. Something is amiss, but no bunkers. Like, Maru, he's not respecting it. Now he sees, now he knows. Yeah, he sees the drop alerts. He's now aware of what's going on. Instantly, bunkers are being thrown down, but these are late. There we go. 1, 2 bunkers on the low ground. They're on the way. Drop alerts into the main. So Ling drop into the main base. Likewise, Ling Queen here towards the natural. Lair is done, so there's going to be, I mean, there would be a setup there in case there was Banshees. Does fully roll off, not bad. Nice Sim City. Do have the full wall. Drops actually heading towards the natural. Yeah, dropping over the wall instead. Collapsing in the army. Bunker does finish. One bunker at least. And so does the other. Bunkers are complete, so we get a transfuse. Clutch transfuse. Keeping the queens alive. Lings they surround the Hellions. And the bunker will fall. The repairs are not in time. Reynor, he's done it. He's down the wall. The wall is open. Hero as Lings they butts into the main. Boys are going down, and GG gets called. Maru is out of GSL, and Reynor, he advances on to the decider match. GG. At least we got one macro game out of them. We got Game one was solid. Game 2 and game 3 more chaotic, more intense early on because of their aggression, and a cheeky build here by Reynor coming in prepared with an all-in, coming in with the Italian Vespa. Again, as you mentioned, Maru, he knew that something was wrong. He saw that there was no expansion, but I would say that his Hellion Scout was late. He had a late Hellion Scout because if you remember, he was waiting for the follow-up Hellions. He had 2 Hellions. He was waiting for the 3rd and 4th Hellion instead of moving out. Because he was waiting, that gave time for Reynor to gear up and to get ready. And by the time the quadruple Hellion move out occurred, then Maru saw what was happening. But by then, it was too late. By then, it was just a little bit too late there. Reynor, he was able to strike and able to end the game then and there. GG. GG, well played. Whew. Reynor does make it through into that final series, into that decider match. It's going to be a best of 3 between Reynor and GuMiho. From the side of Maru, he was going for the same style, it seemed to be, every game in that series. Again, we just have so much limited information about Maru and what his current form is looking like. But it does seem like Maru is still I should say, getting back into the swing of things. What I was trying to emphasize earlier was that Maru has been very inactive this year. He hasn't been playing a lot of StarCraft. He did take a really long break. Again, partially because he was probably waiting to see if he was going to conduct his military service. But now that that's over, now Maru's back. But Maru, he still has a ways to go, especially if he wants a good performance at Dallas, right? DreamHack Dallas is in a couple of days, so we'll see. And he's going to be traveling. Everyone is going to Dallas. Reynor's going to be there. Maru's going to be there. GuMiho's going to be there. Even Classic, everyone's going to be at Dallas. So best of luck to all those getting involved. Oh, so we're setting up. So we're setting up for our final best of 3 of the broadcast. Here we go. Man, okay. There we go. We have GuMiho versus Reynor, another TVZ, but a very different kind of TVZ. We saw a lot of 8-racks out of Maru. GuMiho, he can 8-racks, but it's not really his forte. It's not really what he's known for. He's known for, I mean, he can mech, of course. He can mech it up against Zerg. He's very fond of that. Otherwise, he does really enjoy these earlier, awkward, unorthodox timings. I think what's really fun about GuMiho, what I appreciate from watching and casting him, as often as I can, is that he often comes up with his own builds. He often comes up with his own timings. He has some very unique games as a result, more so than any other player out there. So we'll see. We'll see what he has ready for Reynor, if anything at all. GuMiho, the mad scientist. Yes, yes. What's mad about GuMiho is that sometimes it works. He looks like a genius. Sometimes it falls on its face, and he doesn't look amazing. The trial and error of being a mad scientist. 100%. And here we go. We're getting into our next series, getting into our decider match, and spawning in the right hand corner of ley lines, we have the red Terran player, the South Korean Terran, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg. He just cheesed the hell out of Maru. It is Reynor. Here we go. As our players are preparing, are gearing up, and I was gonna say my eyes are mainly gonna be on GuMiho. I mean, that can't be the case because Reynor, he had one standard game against Maru. Remember, speaking of gasless, hatch pool opener out of Reynor, delayed gases at least. Now, if you recall, we saw something similar on ley lines against Maru, where Reynor went pool first. If you remember, he went pool first. This time it's hatch first into a later pool and delayed gases. This does look like a gasless build. This I'm not too fond of on ley lines. We'll get into it, but first things first. Reynor, he had one standard game against Maru. That was game 1. That was when he went Lingbane Muta. But game 2 and game 3, Reynor, he went for some crazy builds, going for an early Ro8 rush. He went for, I mean, last game we saw the Ling Queen drop load all in. We saw the Italian Vespa come out of the garage. Oh. And here we're going gasless. So Reynor, he's mixing it up quite a bit. Now, the thing about a gasless build like this is that it can be abused, which is why it is often reserved for safer maps. In the last map pool, we saw this quite a lot. We saw this on not Eternal Empire. I mean, we would have. We saw this on Abyssal Reef. We saw this on Neon Violet Square. We saw this on King's Cove. There were a lot of maps in the previous map pool that favored this kind of style. Now, what the style is gasless. No link speed, only queens and slow links. This is very greedy. It's a very greedy style that can be punished, and it is safer to do so on these larger maps, these more defensive maps. Ley lines is not one of them. So it's a bold move. It's a bold build here by Reynor. If he can get away with it, he will take a lead, he will get ahead. But we'll see if he can get away with it. Basically, what you have to rely upon here is SimCity. You need to create a wall here at the natural. You need your queens to be in position, and you need to make sure that your queens keep up with the Hellion rotations. Otherwise, your mineral line is going to get roasted. There is no saving your drones if Hellions get in. Ooh, 1-1-1. I'm scared for Reynor. Now, Clem is really good at punishing this. If you watched EWC last year, Clem versus Serral, he went for the gasless opener, I want to say like 3 times against Clem, and every single time Clem, he roasted up Serral's mineral lines, and he ended the game real fast and real quick. With 1-1-1s. Late 3rd CC, 1-1-1 out of GuMiho. GuMiho, this is designed to shut this down. Here we go, we have a bunker across the map, and how can Reynor defend against this with slow lings and with a handful of queens? Bunkers on the way, hatchery is under fire. Roachwarren is getting there, it's halfway done. And again, this is going to be a tough hold for Reynor. So far, it's going to be zoned back. GuMiho just looking to camp the 3rd base. Queens, they do have 1 transfuse. Or they're about to. About to have a transfuse. More Hellions are rallying. Banshee's behind this as well. Remember, late 3rd base out of GuMiho. Hyper aggressive. As the hatchery is less than half HP. Oh my god. Queen almost falls. Hellions, they try to get past. Nice wall there from Reynor. Last second wall. Does finish the spore. Meanwhile, Queen goes down. Massive pickup. Takes down a Queen. Roaches are finally popping out. Hellions, they check the wall once again. Full wall up. But the first Roach does fall. And I believe GuMiho will break this expansion. There we go. The 3rd base goes down. Massive pickup. Takes down the 3rd. Takes down another Queen. Roaches, they try to collapse in. The repairs from the SCV though. Another Roach goes down. And eventually Reynor, he will break this. Eventually he will clean this up. But this is worth it for GuMiho. So far at least. As GuMiho is being cleaned up. And back at home, the 3rd CC is almost done. Wow, this is a crazy dynamic that we never see here in ZVT, and that is the fact that the Terran player is ahead in the base count. Like, usually the Zerg player is up at base even, but here the 3rd base is almost done. The 3rd base just began for Reynor. So economically, Reynor's behind. And remember, because of the gasless opener, the lair is late. The lair is not done. There's no overlord speed, sorry, there's no roach speed, which means there's no counterattack. Reynor is stuck at home. He's stuck at home, he's stuck defending, he's stuck on 2 bases, and he's still struggling to defend. He has to respond here to the Banshee. Banshee's poking in, there's no cloak. Behind this, GuMiho getting into bio. And this is the price you pay. Like, as you mentioned before, the build that Reynor went for is just really greedy. It's just a really greedy build, and if GuMiho had gone for a standard build, a standard setup, then Reynor would have gotten away with it, but GuMiho went for a 1-1-1. He was hyper aggressive instead, and he did punish Reynor. So the punish was real. Behind this Overlord speed, it looks like an all-in out of Reynor, which would make the most sense. Typically, you'll not research Overlord speed unless you're going for a Drop Lord play, so we might just see another like Roach Queen all-in out of Reynor. Because he's taking so much damage, that would make the most sense. And if GuMiho's too greedy, Reynor can break him, and yep, there we go. As we mentioned, as soon as you see Overlord speed, bam, Drop Lords. So we're going for the all-in. Here we go, Reynor cutting workers at 56. That is going to be under 3 base saturation, 2.5 base basically. So 2.5 base all in out of Reynor. Back at home, GuMiho, he has his Banshees, tank production underway. Stim will finish in the middle of the fight. He has a safety bunker. And he notices, yeah, he knows. Yeah, he sees overall speed should not be done at this point. That's a massive sign, a massive tell. GuMiho, he races back home. Now he has full confirmation. Oh, the Drop Lord taking a lot of damage, a lot of hits. Uh-oh. The Drop Lord, it's gonna go down. Oh my god. 1 shot away. Overseer's morphing in. And yeah, the Drop Lord falls. Now, thankfully, the Queens are already here. The Queens have already arrived. Tank volley is going to be going off. The first bunker is going to go down. But there's 2 tanks behind this. Creep is spreading. Reynor, he needs more damage. Once again, another tank shot. Instead, going for the Drop Lord. And Drop Lord barely does unload in time. But the Queens are falling. No creep. No transfuse. Banshees, they overwhelm the Queens. There's 1 Queen left. Ooh, and the Queen goes down. And with that, GuMiho holds. Yeah, GuMiho, he does hold on. There's no anti-air. The Banshees on their own will shut this down. And Reynor, he's in a rough position. Now, thankfully, he was droning up behind this, but army-wise, he just doesn't scale well here into the mid-game. GuMiho is working on 2-2, is building up his bio tank. More roaches going down for free. Reynor is trying to keep up, trying to hold on. GuMiho, he does not give him time to breathe. He just moves out. He unsieges, mass unsiege, mass move out. Changelings are spotted. Reynor, he has a handful. He has 1 Ravager currently. He's about at 5. He needs those Ravagers. But even then, so far behind in those upgrades. Likewise, we have 5 tanks. Oh my god. Now, the first 3 do stack. But the last tank blows are brutal. And GuMiho, he does it. He does it. He breaks on through. Breaks through the roaches, gets some of the Ravagers as well. There's 2 Ravagers left. And there's just not much remaining here for Reynor. He's down to 1 roach, down to 2 Ravagers. The 4th base barely survives. GuMiho, he's running out of Marines. True. Uh-oh. Running out of fire, but here we go. The reinforcements have arrived. And GuMiho, he can just rally in. He can just rally in at this point. As tanks, they just keep pushing forward. And Reynor, he did not get away with his greed, losing out his Queens. Oof. Losing out more roaches. And GG gets called. GuMiho takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GuMiho, he does take a lead in the series. Again, a cheeky build out of Reynor, but he got punished for it. He went for a gasless opener, went without link speed, delayed roach production, had to defend with purely Queens, and GuMiho was hyper aggressive, going for the 1-1-1, rushed into Hellion Banshee, had a bunker across the map as well. The punish was real, and GuMiho takes a lead. Does take a lead, but we'll see if Reynor can bounce back and force the ace match. Up next, we're going to be loading into Persephone. We'll see if Reynor can recover. Let's go. As I would imagine we're going to be seeing a different build once again from the side of Reynor, a different opener, as he has been very flexible with his openers so far in this tournament in today's broadcast. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Persephone, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Seoul Esports. Leading the series 1-0, it is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents going for a 15 hatch. We do have the Italian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. We go. So nothing too cheeky here. Reynor, I believe, just going hatch first. Yeah. Extractor trick into his initial hatchery. Into gas pool. Like, we should not see a gaseous opener here on Persephone. Meanwhile, ooh, 2x Reaper out of GuMiho. Okay, so first things first, welcome 1-0 to Persephone. Persephone is a smaller map, shorter rush distance by ground, more aggressive than ley lines, which is why we should not see gases here. That would be crazy on Persephone. There we go. Gas is on the way, so standard build here by Reynor makes more sense. Meanwhile, because you can be aggressive on this map, we do have the racks from GuMiho, but do you see what I see? Only 1 racks. So this does not look like 2x Reaper. This looks like the build that Maru had gone for previously in game 2. Racks into CC into factory with a full wall at the natural. Okay, this is the special opener, the special build. Special as in the player, not the fact that it's special. I like this. It's a Juanito build, Juanito. And so here we go. Going for the CC and walling up. And again, this is designed to keep you safe against a pull first, for example. Thankfully, this time Reynor does not go pull first. So from here, we're setting up. Likewise, what this means, what this entails, is that there's not going to be an add-on swap because the starport should be on the high ground, not on the low ground. So the production is going to be a little bit easier to scout and going to be easier to piece together, assuming that Reynor sees what's going on, as he has yet to confirm across the map. Yeah, it looks like Reynor, he was hyper fixated on scouting for proxies, so he was very, very much so afraid of any kind of proxy play. Reaper pokes in. There's a reactor for the atom swap into Hellion production. And then again, we should be seeing that starport on the high ground. Which means this shouldn't be Banshee. Third base not being taken. A little bit later here for Reynor, but only by a little bit. Oh my god. Speaking of, I mean, it isn't Banshee. It's going to be a 1-1 Hellbat push here. Armory is on the way behind that mineral line. We're going to be pumping out Hellions. I'm not going to stop with the Hellion production. No boy. You don't often see Hellbat pushes anymore. But GuMiho is going for it. And we'll see if Reynor can piece this together. Again, the Overlord is a little bit further back. Reynor doesn't actually see much of anything at the natural. I mean, as we said before, Reynor, he was scouting for proxies. He was not really scouting across the map. And because there's no tech lab for this starport, this could just be medevac support. That would make the most sense. As Hellions are amassing. Reynor, he attempts to scout. He does see the wall. Everything so far looks standard, looks normal. Hellbats, they already morph in. This is so fast. But because of that, there's barely any Hellbats. It's only 4. I'll be honest, I don't know what this is meant to achieve. 1 Hellbat goes down. And we're now to 5? I guess. Yeah, Reynor is fine. So GuMiho, he reveals the Hellbats, he pulls away. Reynor, he defends with his queens. And again, this isn't like an excessive queen count. No, this is pretty standard. Behind this, Reynor going into a Roach Warren. Very safe response out of Reynor. Getting into Roach's Notling Bane. Third TC's on the way. GuMiho, he's not going all in. He's building up. But again, this is just a really peculiar setup here from GuMiho. I mean, I guess if Reynor went gasless, this is a harder punish. I guess. Okay. Now this makes a little bit more sense. What do we see? Now, thankfully, we get a scout. The Overlord does see everything. Factories are on the way. We didn't mention at the start of the series, GuMiho, he is one of the few players out there that will play mech at the highest level of play. And there it is. We have mech on the way. We have 2 more factories, and we have, of course, +1 armor with the armory. So now this early armory makes sense because we have very fast upgrades here for GuMiho. The initial Hellbats didn't do anything, but they're just here for map control. They're not meant to do much. So GuMiho is making it up. Now I say one of the only, and I would say by that saying that he's like one of the only consistent players to play mech. But true, Bjorn did also play mech in his GSL matches. He also meched it up. Oh, on Persephone, we have the healing pad. Oh god. Oh, that is brutal. Specifically for mech, because like the downside of battle mech is that over time your Hellion Cyclone, they do like their HP, their health is obviously limited, and you can whittle away at that army over time. But the healing pad just does change things. It does benefit mech quite a bit more. Like, just because with a bio army you already have medevacs. Like when you play bio, you already have medevacs to support your army anyway. But for mech, like repairs, they only really occur when the army races back home. Like, this gives GuMiho so much more sustain, like so much more pressure here with this army. He pulls away. Yeah, he's gonna repair. He's gonna heal up. Ay, ay, ay. Now he still needs Cyclones against these Roaches. So once again, he just rotates. He backs up. He rotates. There we go. Tops up once again. Ay, ay, ay. But what I will say, like, Reynor, he's safe until the Cyclones arrive. So Reynor, he's safe. He's getting a 4th expansion, getting into Infestation Pit, into Roach Ravager. Let's pull away. Intercept Sling run by. At the same time, GuMiho, he now does scout the 4th. He is aware. GuMiho keeping up with the rotations. Does keep up. Once again, pokes in. We do have Let's Go Swarm Hosts on the way. Now, Swarm Hosts are very good against a more traditional form of mech, against like a more tank-heavy composition. Here, we're committing into battle mech, so Swarm Hosts are a little bit less effective. Basically, Swarm Hosts, they're ideal if your opponent has a slower army, because then it's more difficult to actually keep up, catch up, and deny the Swarm Hosts, and rotate with them. With something more mobile, then it's more difficult to get away with the Swarm Hosts. But we'll see. As the Lock-ons, okay, they do punish. I mean, finally we have some Cyclones. Lock-ons do punish. GuMiho pulling away. He scans, but he does not scout these Swarm Hosts yet. But oh no, no, he finds them. Oh, he does find them, does come across them. Yeah, he forces out the Locust Wave. Meanwhile, Roaches, they intercept 1 Cyclone. But this is a much better setup here for GuMiho. Again, the Locust Wave gets wasted. And the first Locust Wave does nothing. He gets 1 SCV. 1, 2, 3. 3 SCVs go down. That is not worth it. Not yet. We have an overseer towards the left-hand side. We have another overseer on the right. We have some more setup for more Nidus Worms. So we go Nidus into the main. And GuMiho, how does he respond? How does he react? Keeps on pushing forward. Yeah, the Nidus is going to be denied. Another nice on the right. GuMiho pushing in, denying creep. You can see here he's still committed. He's still committed to Mass Cyclone. And Reynor playing around with the idea of going to Spire play. Okay, into Spire. As once again, Swarmhurst, they are spotted. You know, Ro8 army coming in towards left-hand side, going for the mineral line. GuMiho out of position. SCVs are going down, getting 4 SCV kills. Reynor pulls away. GuMiho does find the Nidus. He finds both. Both Nidus swarms go down. As the main army rotates. Keeping up with all the Niduses. Meanwhile, both armies are maxed out. I'm afraid to look. How many Cyclones do we have? 24! 24 Cyclones, 14 Hellions. That's a massive Cyclone army. Bailey's going to be rolling in, but there's no Infestors, there's no Fungal. Nice splits here from GuMiho. The splits on the Cyclones. We need that Locust Wave. Locust Wave is going to buy time. Forces back the army, but there's going to be a period here where Reynor's going to be vulnerable. Without those Locusts, he is vulnerable, and now here comes the army. GuMiho is breaking through. He can always top up with that healing pad. As more Lings are punished, more Queen's going to be going down. Again, if Reynor, he just needs more time for that Locust Wave, needs a couple of seconds. And GuMiho backs off. He backs off, he rotates. Clearing up more creep, he's got that Raven. Doesn't need scans. Splits up his army. Does split up. Nice, he's having this around. Oh, Hellions, they collapse on top of the Cyclones, not bad. Yeah, a lot of Cyclones do fall. Decent fight there, decent engage from Reynor. But there's still so many more Cyclones behind this. Clearing up even more creep. You can see he's stretching for the army, he doesn't really get surrounded. Pulls away. Nidus swarms are getting up and running. Okay. Reynor is still in this. He's still got those Nidus worms. GuMiho forcing him back. Where do we spend that Locust Wave? How many Swarmhosts? 10. 10 Swarmhosts. GuMiho is just topping himself up at the healing pad. Catching up the Queens. Oh, good. And bleeding out 1, 2, 3 Queens go down. Bailings, they crash into the Hellbats at least. But GuMiho is looking to overwhelm. And Reynor, he can't deal with this. Like, no without Infestors, no without Fungals. With pure Lingbane Ro8 Ravager, he just cannot brute force it. Not like this. Yeah, GuMiho, he's doing it. He's breaking on through. We have a couple of Bailings morphing in just to hold on. They do crash into the Cyclones, not bad. They get some soul connections. But GuMiho, he can still keep pushing. Yeah, he can still just keep pushing. He keeps breaking through, takes down all the workers. 8 drones go down. And Reynor is hurting. Still has the Nidus swarms up and running. Is still doing whatever he can with their swarm hosts. As Reynor is supply blocked. Where's the Banshee's free damage? They pop up. GuMiho adds back. Locust Wave gets 4 SCVs, not good enough. Got some Corruptors. Okay. We're moving in some Broodlords even. I mean, Broodlords, they will help. They will be able to slow things down and try to allow Reynor to stabilize. Likewise, Nidus runes are finally being found out. GuMiho tops up his army. Once again, making use of that healing pad. He scans. With the scans, I believe he does get eyes. Yep, he sees the Broodlord. He knows. He's aware that Broodlords are coming. And from here, Fusion Core. Oh boy. Getting ready for BCs. We already have tech labs on the starport, so mass BC is on the way as a follow-up. We're going for the battle cruisers. Plus 2 ship weapons already on the way as well. GuMiho is ready for the BCs. There it is. Yamato's being researched. First BCs in production. Finally, we have some infestors going into Broodlord Infestor, but this is so late for Reynor. It's so delayed. Oof. Catching out Infestor. Where's the anti? Oh no, he snipes the other Infestor. The snipes. The Banshees. 0 Infestors left. No more Infestors. Now going for the Ravagers. Going for the Queens. Oof. Gets another. From here, he has Hyperflight Rotors. He can just pull away. Oh my god, forcing a cancel. Does pull away. GuMiho barely does not spot the Nidus. And she's pulled out. But Reynor, he unfortunately, like, he wasn't ready for the Cyclone, or he wasn't, he just didn't really have the setup for the Cyclones. He's also not ready for the BCs. Not ready for them. He doesn't have the upgrades. There we go. BCs are revealed. Now we need Mass Corruptor Infestor. Neural is on the way. Neural will help. And 1 starport goes down. And not bad. Takes down a starport. The battle mech is still a problem. Still 0 Infestors. Now there are 6 on the way. They will each have at least one fungal. Was it Storm? But they each have at least one. Banshees, they do trade and they do take down a base. Thinking about by coming in, not bad. SCV's finally going to be going down. Finally, some counter damage. Reynor getting some damage done across the map. For the first time in a long time. Gets 18 SCVs. But GuMiho is now super maxed. He's super maxed out. He's got 3 battle cruisers. There we go. Teleporting on top of the army. He wants those infestors. The fungals though. Oh, the vials. Vials to connect. Yamato's two of those infestors. Now moving in. Going for another Yamato. Fungal the army. Oh, does Grace. Takes out 1 Cyclone. That was just one. Just 1 Cyclone goes down. Yeah, and it looks like GuMiho, he has done it. He's overrunning Reynor. He's overwhelming. Reynor, he was just stuck on Lingbane or Ravager for so long it wasn't worth it. On top of that, the reality is Swarm Hosts, they weren't worth it either. They weren't worth it. We spoke about how Swarm Hosts are ideal against a slower form of mech, but against Battle Mech, you see how difficult it was for the Nidus Rooms to stay up, for the Swarm Hosts to actually get any value. The Cyclones, they just pulled Reynor apart. And the Swarm Hosts, they never really paid for themselves. Never did pay for themselves. GG gets called, and GuMiho will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the top 4 and eliminating Reynor from GSL. GG. GG, well played. GuMiho will claim it. Again, even flexing mech towards the end, but mech specifically on Persephone feels a lot stronger thanks to the healing pad. Time and time again, GuMiho, he was making full use of that healing pad to maintain his battle mech, to sustain that kind of army, and to just never really allow Reynor to breathe. And unfortunately, Reynor, he did decide to go into Swarm Host. As we were emphasizing at the time, Swarm Host play can be effective, but specifically against battle mech, it's difficult. It's difficult to really make pay for itself, just because the army that you're up against is so mobile. And we saw that Reynor, it wasn't really worth it. The Swarm Hosts, they did not pay for themselves. They hurt him more than anything. It was because he was investing into those Swarm Hosts. They didn't have any resources to make any infestors, so he was stuck on Lingbane Roach Ravager for a long time, and he was trading so poorly, so inefficiently. He was not able to really collapse on those Cyclones. And in the end, GuMiho did just outtrade him. He outtraded him. He did overwhelm him. GG. GG, well played. GuMiho does make it through into the upper echelons of GSL. And shout out to Reynor for competing here tonight, for taking down Maru. True, was impressive to bring down Maru, did cheese the hell out of him, but also had a really solid game one. Had a really fun later game back and forth. Lingbei Muto was a treat to see from Reynor in his first game against Maru. And with that wraps up Group B. That wraps up our morning broadcast. Here we go, switching our scenes over. We had a Classic. It all began with Classic going up against Reynor and going up against GuMiho. Classic was the first player to make it through into the top 4 out of Group B. Likewise, we were able to feature Maru's Protoss. Now, I should also emphasize that Maru, he did play Terran against Reynor, not Protoss. But the way that we have our spreadsheet set up, like it's one or the other. And he played Protoss against GuMiho, he played Terran against Reynor, just as a heads up. Oh. As a reminder. Actually, can I do this? Can I do this and then can I do this without breaking things? No, I break everything. But regardless, GuMiho took down Maru, of course, and then we had GuMiho taking down Reynor towards the end of the broadcast as well. Dominant, strong performances out of GuMiho. Of course, Classic did have his number when it came to their match. And Classic, he was able to specifically rely on his scouting. There was a lot of scouting from Classic, able to get a read on what sorry, I think I said Maru too often. Get a read on what GuMiho was up to. Was able to shut down the aggression of GuMiho time and time again. So really impressive play there by Classic, really impressive scouting, more importantly, more than anything. And in the end, we had, of course, Reynor taking down Maru and Reynor falling to GuMiho. So congratulations to Classic and GuMiho for making it through. And that means that we have our top 4 for GSL. Who are those 4 players? Hero, GuMiho, Classic, and Kior. 4 players here for the playoffs, and we're going to be covering those playoffs this evening as we quickly switch our scenes over and catch up on our schedule. Bam! You can see our schedule this week is full of GSL broadcasts. We're here on Thursday. Thursday morning. We just wrapped up with our morning broadcast of GSL. This evening at 7 p.m. KST, that is going to be at 8 p.m. AST. That's going to be in around 6.5 hours. In 6.5 hours, we're going to be live once again with the finals, with the semifinals and the grand finals of GSL Season 1. We're going to be casting Hero versus GuMiho and Classic versus Cure, and the winners of those matches against each other in the best of 7 finals. So it's going to be an intense broadcast later on tonight. And you may be curious, hold up, if you're covering the finals tonight, then why is there more GSL on Friday and on Saturday? Well, those are the qualifiers for Season 2. For those who do not know, the qualifiers for Season 2 of GSL took place a couple of days ago. They took place on over the weekend. Those were when the qualifiers took place. Obviously, just because I'm sure someone's going to ask, they were not casted live by anyone. No one casted them live. No one does cast them live. That hasn't happened in many years. But instead, replays were provided, and we've all been covering the replays. I want to say Enki's already casted the replays. I think Wardy did some GSL casting yesterday. I know that Zombergub did some GSL casting yesterday as well. For those qualifiers, we're going to be doing our GSL qualifier cast tomorrow, after we finish up the Season 1 finals. So yes, that's going to be 3 casts. It's going to be 16 best of 3s. A lot of best of 3s, but 16 best of 3s throughout 3 casts. So it's going to be Friday morning, Friday evening, and Saturday evening as well. And on top of that, we have DreamHack Dallas. 3 days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on where you are in the world. But 3 days straight of DreamHack Dallas. We are going to be covering that event as well. We're going to be casting. We're going to be doing our best to co-stream as well. I say that we have yet to have confirmation, but we should be able to cover Dallas on the channel. Of course, shout out to the offline, sorry, I should say the main production team, the talent team. They're going to be covering the event. We're going to be most likely co-streaming the event on our channel here on the CranKy Ducklings. So it's going to be a very intense weekend here of StarCraft with GSL and with DreamHack Dallas. For those who do not know who was going to DreamHack Dallas, everyone is going. All the top players, all the top Koreans, all the top Europeans, everyone is going to be at Dallas. There are very few that are not. So again, if you can name a Korean player, they're all going. SOS is going, Kyo is going, Bunny, Ryung, GuMiho, Classic, Hero, Shin, Solar, Rogue, Maru, Byan, just all of them. The only notable Korean I will say that isn't going is Nightmare. Nightmare is not going, but again, Nightmare, he's been playing a lot of Deadlock. He's been spending a lot of time outside of StarCraft, so Nightmare's the only one that isn't going. Even Homemono and Lunacy are going. I guess like you go down to like Rebellion isn't going, Prome isn't going, Ateshi isn't going, but those are more like amateur, like Korean or semi-pro Korean players. When it comes to the Europeans, Gabe is going to be there, Showtime is going to be there, Skillus, Elaser, Lambo, Serral, Reynor, Clem, like again, like all the top players from Europe, from Korea, all going to be at Dallas. So make sure you're a part of that. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be a blast. It is going to be a blast here. So make sure you tune into whether it's the CranKy Ducklings or another channel that's going to be co-streaming, or the main channel that's going to be streaming it. Do tune in. We will be not just co-streaming the event, but I believe day one we're going to be covering the open bracket of the tournament. There's going to be a lot of matches, so I'm sure they want as much community coverage as they can get. So we're going to be all over that. But again, before DreamHack Dallas, we have all these GSL broadcasts. So there's going to be a lot of GSL coverage over the next couple of days leading into Dallas. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you'll enjoy the content. And again, our next cast is going to be later on tonight, is going to be in 6.5 hours time. I'm gonna get some breakfast and then I'm gonna go and try to sleep as much as I can to be well rested for the event. So I got you covered for GSL for the finals later on tonight. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. You can also follow us on all the social medias, !socials in the chat, and you can tune in to, of course, our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord, all things CranKy Ducklings. We do stream not just here on Twitch, we stream over on YouTube as well. We are live over on YouTube, so we got you covered for that YouTube coverage. VODs are available on YouTube as well. VODs are instantly available on YouTube, so if you see something that you want to see here and if you can't watch it live, then YouTube is the place to be for those VODs. YouTube is the place to be. Otherwise, with that, we're going to be wrapping up. And is there anyone live at the moment? Is there anyone live? Can we give someone a rage? We'll find someone. I think Dave is streaming. I know that Enki is streaming. Might give Enki a raid. El Señor Enki. Otherwise, we're wrapping up. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in 6 hours. Until then, ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. See you next time.